We give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah by way of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there they which testify of me. And you would not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Alahym in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. For another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that comes from Alahym only? So let's swing our way back to Exodus 33. Boy, ain't nothing wrong with you, boy. Sound like you got a doodle though. You sound like he got a strong turd in him. 33 and 11. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses face to face, as a man speak unto his friend. And he turned again into the camp, but his servants Yahusha, open that door for her. That door not open. The servant Yahusha the son of Nun, a young man, departed not out of the tabernacle. Moses said unto Yahuwah, see thou say unto me, bring up this people, and thou hast let me know whom thou wilt send with me. Yet thou hast said, I know thee by name, and thou also found grace in my sight. Now therefore I pray thee, if I found grace in thy sight, show me now thy way, that I may know thee, that I might find grace in thy sight, and consider that this nation is thy people. He said, my presence shall go with thee, and I will give thee rest. He said unto me, if thy presence go not with me, carry us not up hence. For wherein shall it known here that I and thy people have found grace in thy sight? Is it not that thou go with us, so shall we be separated, I and thy people, from all the people that are upon the face of the earth. Now it's interesting that when you look at what the word grace is, you can see through the context clue that he's telling you grace will cause you to be separated in that final sentence. But the key thing that we wanted to pay attention to is that verse 13, where he say, if we gonna find grace in his sight, that we need to be shown his way and that we may know him. Now, as I told you this afternoon from last night, what we're gonna try to look at is the justification of faith and grace versus the law, because that's all niggas screen is the law. The reason, and it's interesting, I wasn't planning on doing it based off the conversation I had with a nigga who had problems with Paul's letters. Who they feel like he put in faith versus the law. He's acting like faith was never around. Faith was always around, but not the faith of Yahushua HaMashiach. That was not around. That had not been revealed. Men did not know it, nor could they be a partaker into it. And the reason why a lot of individuals don't realize faith is important is you cannot receive the Ruach HaKodesh without it. You can't get it from the law. And nowhere can you read anywhere in this book where anybody received the spirit of Yahuwah from the law itself. Let's look at an example of that and see. Let's go to Judges chapter 13, if I'm not mistaken. And after that, Luke chapter 1. We'll try to find a couple of people that had the spirit of Yahuwah fall upon them. No law required. We already looked at one, and that was Moses last night, because it said the spirit was upon Moses. No law was given to Moses. How could the spirit had come on Moses from the law when he was the one who gave the people the law, and he had it before he gave it to him, because he placed it upon him to send him to go do a work. You know what I'm saying? Dudes don't never sit back and look at none of that. If he placed the Ruach of Moses on him, how did Moses get it? He got it because he believed in Yahuwah, so he threw that upon him. You know what I'm saying? Can't say he got it from the law, because there was no law given. Because if the niggas say the law was given, then there would have been no need for Moses to give them the law when they came up out of Egypt then. You know what I'm saying? So your whole conversation gets destroyed. So then when we go back and we look at Paul's letters, all the stuff that he talked about is making sense. When they were justified coming out of Egypt, we already know this. Were they justified by faith or the law? It was faith. There was no law for them to be justified by. Judges 13 and 1. And the children of Yasharal did evil again in the sight of Yahuwah, and Yahuwah delivered them into the hand of the Philistines 40 years. There was a certain man of Zorah of the family of the Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren and bare not. And the Malachim of Yahuwah appeared unto the woman and said unto her, Behold now, thou art barren and bear not, but thou shalt conceive and bear a son. Now therefore beware, I pray thee, drink not wine nor strong drink, eat not any unclean thing, for For lo, thou shalt conceive and bear a son. No razor shall come upon his head. For the child shall be a Nazarite unto Alahym from the womb, and he shall begin to deliver Yasharal out of the hand of the Philistines. Now we look at something, right? There's a promise being made to this woman that she's going to have a son, and what that she ought to do. So if we go look at Samson and see the Ruach fall upon Samson, it was already promised to fall upon him if he's going to be a savior and a deliverer, because every savior and deliverer, the Ruach of Yahuwah rests upon them. It just didn't rest upon them eternally. You know what I'm saying? No, he didn't have it continuously. There was no way for it. I mean, they would have had eternal life. There's only one person you read in this book, the Ruach of Yahuwah never departing from. Does anyone know who that is? It's only one man that you can read, the Ruach fell upon them and it never departed from them. There's only one person.
Elisha?
No, that ain't him. Because you don't even read that the Ruach of Yahuwah rest upon him. That person was David. David is the only person in the text where you can read that the Ruach fell upon him and it did not depart from him. It's the only one. And you know why that's the case, because it's pointing you to something later on down the line. You know what I'm saying? Ruach fell upon Saul. Saul sinned, it departed from him. You know what I'm saying? Even with Samson, the Ruach was on Samson. They cut his locks off, it departed from him. Then it came back upon him to finish one final work to take these people out. But if you notice that he's a Nazarite from the womb, right? And what is a Nazarite? That is a separated seed. You know what I'm saying? He was getting a free gift to be a savior of Alahym of no work of himself. What had Samson done to be worthy of this gift? Nothing. See, that's what these niggas missed. That was a free gift. Nevertheless, let's look and see if I can find the spot where it's stuck on Samson, man. Judges chapter 13. Let's drop down a little bit about verse 21. It said, and the Malachim of Yahuwah did no more appear to Manoah and to his wife. Manoah knew that he was a Malachim of Yahuwah. Manoah said unto his wife, we shall surely die because we've seen Alahym. But his wife said unto him, if Yahuwah were pleased to kill us, he would have not received a burnt offering and a meat offering at our hands, neither would he have showed us all these things, nor would at this time have told us such things as these. And the woman bare a son and called his name Samson, and the child grew, and Yahuwah baruched him. And the Ruach of Yahuwah began to move at times in the camp of Dan between Zorah and Eshtal. So if it's moving, that means it was moving on clearly on Samson. That's why it's there. See, people don't really look at all these things like people say, y'all act like the Ruach wasn't never before Yahusha. Nobody ever said that. You know what I'm talking about? But the difference that we know is there was no promise of grace or a free gift or acceptance in that first covenant at all. I made a promise unto your father Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and I'm going to give you this, and if you break it, I'm going to kill you and put you out this land. That was it. Was there any mention of forgiveness of sins in that covenant? No. He put that in there because he knew you niggas were going to sin, but that wasn't a part of the covenant what he swore unto them. But let's go to Jeremiah 31 and let's see what was part of that covenant where he will offer a free gift. See, niggas don't want to look at that because niggas scream they love Yahusha and they believe on it, but they really don't.
So you're saying the first covenant he just promised our forefathers?
He promised them the land, and that was it. And length of days in the land. There was no promise of eternal life. There was no promise of forgiveness of sins. There was no promise of any of that. That wasn't a part of. And the reason why we even in Exodus 33 looking at because what we were dealing with was the renewal of the covenant. That's what we started with on Wednesday. Why was the covenant being renewed? Because they had already transgressed it. In the 32nd chapter, they were worshiping the golden calf. Moses came down and caught him, and what did he do? He threw the covenant down and broke it. So he had to make another one. And we done went over that before. The renewal of the covenant is in the law. These niggas so dumb that they don't see it. And they don't even realize that the renewal of the covenant, Moses offered himself as an atonement. He said, no, I ain't going to take that. Then, of course, we know Moses' face is shining. So we already going to see that there is a mention of a free gift, which is going to be the atonement of a man's body. You know what I'm talking about? To purchase you from a sin under a covenant which you broke. And then the light is symbolic of eternal life. And this covenant that we're going to make new is going to give you eternal life. It's right there in the law.
So when we pray and say, remember the covenant made with our forefathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, is that for us to
That's for him to remember the mercy that he swore. The only reason he sought Mashiach was because of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Ain't had nothing to do with you, because you wicked. You know what I'm saying? Those three men were faithful. So therefore, because you got to remember, he didn't make a covenant with us. You know what I'm talking about? He made a covenant with us, but that's not where it started. It started with Abraham. He said, I'm going to get Abraham a seed. So then when you come with Abraham, you get Isaac, who is the separated seed or the seed of the promise. That separated seed begins to produce more children, who is Jacob and his offspring. And then he said, okay, these the ones I started from here. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it go back to, he swore to Abraham, which we're going to look at, y'all willing, this afternoon. I'm going to do this for you and your seed. And then Isaac come and he slide through to Isaac and say, check this out, man. You the one who were born of your daddy. See, I have made a promise with your daddy. Your daddy might have told you about it, but now I'm finna come tell you about it. You know what I'm saying? But guess what though? You know the beginning of that progeny is not going to happen with Isaac, because you know you got to produce a little bit more children. You know what I'm saying? A little bit more time got to slide on by. I need a little bit more people. I got a little plan I'm trying to work. So then boom, he put out Esau and Jacob and said, you know what, I'm going to throw a plot twist and we're going to have twins on the scene. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? Hold on. No, you don't want that 515 line, sir. You definitely don't want that. Oh, my lamb. We appreciate that. They sound like they finna disco night with it. You know what I'm saying? Look like the Doobie Brothers gonna pop out in there in a minute. And go to be talking about just trying to stay alive. That's what they look like. They or the Bee Gees won. But nevertheless. So check it, right? So then, so now it's like this here. So you got Jacob and Esau. Which one is it gonna be? Because he could pick either one. He said, you know what? That Esau nigga wicked. He said, how you know he wicked? Because I don't even, let me rephrase that. He said, I'm going to pick one. He said, what have they done? They ain't did nothing. I'm just going to pick that one. That's a free gift. See, that's grace right there. There was nothing that Jacob did. There was no law that Jacob kept because he had a chance to choose. I could choose Esau, I could choose Jacob. He said, I'm going to choose Jacob. Why? Because I want to. See, niggas talking about, why would y'all do that? What type of God would do that? Type of God do what he want to do. I don't see why that's so hard to understand, because you got it in your mind that why would God think like a human? You got it to thinking like God can think like a human. He does whatever he want to do when he want to do it, how he want to do it, to who he want to do it. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. The same way it could be 6 of us sitting in their room and he say, you know what? I'm going to kill 5 and save 1. Why? Because I want to. Well, what did they do? You'll see in due time. Because at the end of the day, you see what Esau did in due time. You know what I'm saying? You see what he did in due time. You're a wicked nigga. And a wicked nigga for one reason and one reason alone. Because you're faithless. You're faithless. See, niggas think that law is what it do. How many of y'all know? Look at this here, right? We ain't got to call no names of anybody we know. Some of y'all know some niggas who you done served y'all with or called yourself serving y'all with that screamed that law all day long and never kept it. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm talking about see them in people's face talking about you need to keep this law. And you thinking to yourself, shoot, well, when you gonna start? You know what I'm talking about? Dead real. Because the reason being, because if you catch yourself in a moment of clarity, you're going to think about yourself. Shoot, boy, I need to tighten up. So then when you think about you need to tighten up, and then you hear this nigga telling this nigga, you need to keep the law, you need to keep the law. And then you think, well, shoot, nigga, when you gonna start? Because you ain't started yet, nigga, but you telling them to do something you ain't even doing. You know what I'm saying? And you know what that breeds? A whole bunch of people that's always sinning. So then when a nigga call him out for, where's the mercy? Where's the compassion? I got no compassion on you, nigga. You wicked. We can have compassion. He said, who can have compassion on him who is out of the way? Meaning you don't know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. So there's a difference from that. See, you know what you're doing. Sanders had a woman ask me that yesterday. She said, well, what if you didn't know? I said, well, guess what the law say? There's a sacrifice for sins made out of ignorance. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's a sacrifice for you. There's not a sacrifice for sin done willfully. You can't sacrifice. Nigga, you knew what you were doing. You know I said don't sleep with that man. Why you slept with her anyway? Now you want me to sacrifice and forgive you. Forgive you for what? Why should I do it? You know what I'm saying? That's the part that nigga missing. They want to down talk the man. Why should he do that when you knew what you were doing? He's not obligated to do that. If he does that, it's so that you can understand that he is merciful and that you might fear him. You should have feared him before he even did that. But my point is how niggas screen that law, but nigga, you ain't keeping it though. But if you pay attention to this, you see the people in the text that mention faith, they seem to have a lot more consistent applied discipline than niggas who screaming the law. They don't seem to have problems with the flesh and obeying this man's word. They don't seem to have them problems. Why don't they have those problems? Because their hope is set in him. They're not seeking a reward by reason of debt that he owes you, because you know that you owe him. You know what I'm talking about? See, that's the difference. That's the difference of mind frame. A law nigga feel like y'all owe him. A faithful person knows that I owe y'all. That's the difference. That's the difference. That's the whole total difference. All you got to do is sit back and peep people who scream the law all the time, peep their conversation. You know what I'm saying? Peep their mentality. They don't feel like y'all owe them. You know the only time they feel like y'all owe them, son? When they sin. He's a merciful God. He gonna forgive me. He gotta forgive me. He merciful. Well, why you wouldn't think about that before you went and did that? He wasn't merciful then, you forgot him. Because he wasn't in your heart. See, there's a difference. It's a drastic difference. Jeremiah 31 though, man. 31 to 31. You know what I'm saying? It ain't what it is. Nigga get mad about it. You remember? Some of y'all friends told, they say, when I first seen him, I thought he was a Christian. And you know, because I didn't know them, I didn't hit them with sarcasm. Because my sarcastic response would have been, that's why you're not paid to think. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people say they think a lot of things. You notice a lot of people are not paid to think for a reason. Because you're not quick on your toes. You know what I'm saying? You get paid to think, you got to be quick on your toes. You know what I'm talking about? Everybody don't have a brain for that. I just was talking to Brandon about that. He was like, everybody want to preach. Yeah, everybody want to preach. Everybody ain't got the skill for it though. See, to preach the words, you got to have two things, possibly three. Because I can consider two of them one and the same. One, you have to have an extreme love for Yahuwah, first and foremost. Then if you have a love for Yahuwah, you would have a love for his people, because you would have a desire for them to be saved. And then secondly, you would need to have some manner of skill in the word to be able to disseminate it properly unto people that they might understand, so their souls might be saved, and the man that you love might be esteemed in the process. I don't believe everybody has that desire. I believe most people just want to be seen. As the text already tells you, just want to be seen. They want to be seen in the marketplaces with the greeting saying, Rabbi, Rabbi. That's a good brother right there. You see how these niggas be taking their pictures and be dressed with their outfits on? That's a righteous brother right there. You see them fringes? That's a high priest. Niggas right here calling themselves high priests. When you ever known in the book to be 10, 15, 20, 30 high priests? Which one of you niggas are high? Who is the high priest, nigga? Because it was only one. You never had more than one high priest at one time. Can anyone show me that? Because I can't see it. Then you gonna turn around and don't tell me y'all who shot a high priest, nigga. So now you stealing somebody's job, nigga. Nigga, ain't no high priest, nigga. Where your temple at, cuz?
Niggas saying they high priest.
All across the country.
I ain't see this one.
What you mean? The first one, high priest, the first watchman,
I
right?
thought you said he was a...
Who?
I think he talking about
talking about dude from Africa.
who talking third person. What's his name?
Oh, you talking about
He
Hashua?
was the first high priest.
He ain't the first nigga I ever seen call that. Shoot, that nigga Ariah, the nigga who came up with a 12 tribe charge, say he a high priest. You got a whole bunch of these Hebrew niggas around here talking about.
They ain't saying they're the high priest, they saying they're the son of.
They ain't even saying they're the son of the high priest. That nigga saying I am.
High priest, don't talk about the son.
Shoot, yeah, Gorilla Hebrew say he the high priest of Sakari.
Are you the comforter?
I'm the almighty high priest.
When they be in their congregations, they say they the high priest. There was never satellite high priests. You know what I'm saying? It was one. There's only one high priest at a time.
Because there's only one city that you go to.
You know what I'm saying? So I want to know if you niggas the high priest, where that scapegoat at, baby? Cause I need somebody to take that scapegoat out there. I need somebody to perform Leviticus 16 every year. You the high priest, why you ain't on your job? Cause you can't tell me you a high priest after the order of Melchizedek. You got a mom and a daddy, sir. Share that lie to somebody else. And that's why niggas won't like you. See, if you actually know the word and you question these niggas on what they talking about, then they got a problem with you. You don't say, okay, before we put, you heard Brandon last week say he ain't never been in the congregation where a nigga got asked a nigga question. Cause you know them niggas discourage people asking them questions. Don't ask me no question. Who you think you is? I'm the high priest. I'm the priest. I'm a prophet of the Lord. You don't question the prophet of the Lord. Nigga, who you think you is, nigga? You gotta wipe your butt after you take a dump just like me.
Yeah, and then you will want somebody to question you, ask you a question. They don't understand.
Clearly. Because that means that means the whole purpose of why you're here is irrelevant if the person don't understand.
Did not the disciples ask questions?
All the time. Sometimes they would be scared. Then they go back to the house. Well, I gotta ask that nigga. Cause boy, I want to know. You know what I'm telling you? You ain't never see a Mashiach say, "How dare you? Do you not know I'm the Son of God?" He said, "Well, check this out. Only time he got on him is when he felt like you supposed to already knew that." And that's a different type of thing right there. And you know why people get upset with that? And I've said this before, not recently though. People are not used to when somebody actually has an expectation of your intelligence and your greatness to where they would be disappointed when you don't exhibit it. You know what I'm saying? Because people are not used to that. So when you ask a question, a nigga be like, "What?" They think he's belittling me. No, I expected more from you. And I'm disappointed in that, the fact that I remember Nell used to say that all the time. "Well, I'm glad that you think so highly of me." What do you mean? We're here every day. You know what I'm saying? Not just every Sabbath, nigga. We in the house talking about this stuff every day. You know what I'm saying? So because we talk about it every day, of course I'm going to expect your wisdom and knowledge and understanding to be here versus somebody who I don't talk to every day. Why would I not expect that from you? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, of course there's going to be people, your expectation of them is going to be here, and some people it's going to be there. That's no disrespect to the person that you think is there. That comes to depending on your dealings with them. With said information that you would be like, you know what, I ain't disappointed you ain't know that because I didn't expect you to. You know what I'm saying? But if I expect you to, people look at disappointment different. Disappointment is just, I just thought you were better than that. I just expected more from you. So then you didn't meet this expectation. It's not anger, it's sadness. You know what I'm saying? And you should want that. That's what's wrong with black people. We don't expect nothing from nobody. You know what I'm saying? You expect mediocrity from a nigga. So when a nigga give you that, you be like, all right, boy, you holding it down. You ain't holding it down, nigga. Same way niggas want accolades for doing what they supposed to do. I go to work every day, and I expect you to go to work. I wouldn't be disappointed if you didn't go to work. I would tell you you're an idiot. I take care of my kids, as you should. You like to get freaky, didn't you? Do you know what I'm talking about? So quite naturally, you should want to take care of something that produced from your freaky activities. You want to have that good time where responsibilities come with good times. You know what I'm saying? Nobody don't look at that. That's why I do not respect anybody who don't take care of their children. You know what I'm saying? Period. Especially because I came from that. So I'm definitely not going to respect you on that. Because guess what? Now one of us sitting in this room asked to be here. Ain't nobody did pop up in heaven one day and say, "Lord, send me down there to them two niggas right there." You know what I'm saying? Say, "Why them two, my child?" I just like them. I like how they act. You know what I'm saying?
That was the case.
Ooh, then you'll be a lot more discriminatory. By Lord, take that one there and that one there. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got to be poor. We can live comfortable. I get new toys every Christmas. We don't celebrate Christmas, but I don't care. They got toys. 31 and 31. It says, "Behold, the days come, saith Yahuwah, I will make a new covenant with the house of Yasharal and with the house of Yehuda, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers." You see the key point of what he said? Not according. So it's not going to be like the first one. These niggas overlooked that. It's not going to be like the first one. I digress. "In the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Mizraim, which covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, saith Yahuwah. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Yasharal after those days, saith Yahuwah. I will put my Torah in their inward parts, and I will write it in their hearts. It will be their people, and they shall be I will be their Alahym, and they shall be my people." He just promised them the Ruach right then. He just promised them the Ruach right then. That's what he just promised them. That's what he just promised them. "And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor, every man his brother, saying, Know Yahuwah, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith Yahuwah. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more." And then he promised that their sins would be forgiven.
Yeah, in John 15, he said, "The Ruach shall bring all things in remembrance."
He done already, this is what he promised you. He promised you the Ruach and sin being forgiven. This is a free gift of which you did nothing to do to earn.
He said this didn't come to pass yet,
Niggas say that because they saying people still saying no Yah, no Yah. He didn't. He just said it will come to pass. He didn't say that all of you would know. This is why the Apostle John wrote in 1 John chapter 2, the anointing you have received, you have no need that any man teach you. Because if you've received the Ruach, the word is in you. Don't nobody need to teach you anything. But before you get to the point, we done went over this before. Before you get to that point, you have to be taught. Then once you receive that anointing, why would anybody need to teach you about Mashiach? You already know him. Because you already heard him to believe on him. So therefore now he resides in you and you reside in him. Why would anybody need to teach you not to break the Sabbath, not to fornicate, not to commit adultery? The word is in your inward parts. It's in your heart. It's in your mind. No one would need to teach you that. Because look at the key point of what we looked at in the law. Let's go back to Exodus 33 and read that verse again in verse 13. Now we got to get it rolling and cranked up. He says, and Moses said, he said, now therefore I pray thee, if I found grace in thy sight, which is Khan, which is to be accepted, which is the separated seed, correct? Show me now thy way that I may know thee, that I may find grace in thy sight, and consider that this nation is a people. So in order to be able to get this acceptance, what do you need to have happen? You need to know his way so that you can know him. So without knowing his way, you can't know him, which means you can't be accepted, which means you're going to hell. Not a difficult concept to see. It's right here in the law, is it not? Well, let's look at something in John chapter 14 then. Because you remember, who remembers what the word for way is? Anybody remember what that word is? I said it quite a bit. The way to the highest that covers sins. So that's what he would add. So if you know the way to the highest that covers sins, then guess what you'll end up doing? You would know Alahym at that point, would you not? And if you know Alahym at that point, then you would be able to get the free gift and be accepted. What is the free gift? Forgiveness of sins and the Ruach HaKadosh, without which you can't live forever. After we look at John 14, we'll look at John chapter 6 and verse 44. John 14 and make it 3. He's saying, if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. And whither I go ye know, and the way you know. Thomas saith unto him, Master, we know not whither thou go, and how can we know the way? Yahushua saith unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man come unto the Father but by me. So if he say he the truth and the life, and the way, he just told you he the way to the highest that covers sins, and then he just told you that he was the faith, because he said he was the truth. So if he said he was the truth, he said he's the Amat. See, that niggas overlook that. Niggas see truth. It's funny that niggas always scream Hebrew this and Hebrew that, but then overlook the Hebrew word for truth is not the same as the English word for truth. Truth is just facts or absolute information. You know what I'm saying? But in Hebrew, this man talking about firmness, faithfulness, being established. How can your heart be established? It can only be established by faith. So Mashiach told you, I'm the way that to the highest that covers sins, which leads to faith, which leads to life. This is common sense. Which is grace, because that's going to make you Khan, a separated seed. Which will also take us back to what we talked about last week about being a prisoner of hope, which means your head supports you. Your head can only support you if you trust in them. You know what I'm saying? A lot of women will sit back and they'll find a man and they'll pick that man because they know that this man will support them. See, we ain't just talking about supporting financially, because you can have women who are married to dudes who support them financially but do not support them mentally, emotionally, or spiritually, so therefore they do not trust them. You know what I'm saying? So you're supposed to sit back and look at that, understand that Yahuwah can support you materially or monetarily. He can support you spiritually, because Yahuwah don't deal with no emotions. You know, he can support you emotionally and being able to give you support in a weak time if you're sad, or if you're angry, or if, you know what I'm saying, all of these things. You know what I'm talking about? And of course he supports you spiritually, because he's that stay in that rock. Where can that support only come from? It can only come from by reason of faith, which niggas lack. See, niggas don't really trust in y'all like that. It shows in our actions and in our works and the choices that we make, the people that we choose to be around. If you say you trust in Yah, I couldn't be around no sinner. I don't trust you. Not on a consistent and regular basis. I don't care who you are. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, when it goes down, the book already tell you, your people going to turn you in. Even those who claim to be of the faith, these people going to turn you in. They're going to kill you. Because he said everyone who live godly will suffer persecution. So you think a nigga thinking this suffering persecution because a nigga upset because you don't show up for a family function. on Thanksgiving or Christmas, these people will utterly despise your whole entire life because they despise everything that you stand for. There's a reason why he say, Baruch are thee when men was caused to speak evil of you and separate themselves from your company. You know what I'm talking about? See, people feel like if you get in the word, ain't nobody going to... If people are not separating themselves from you, then clearly you're not as staunch on this as you think you are. You know what I'm talking about? Because people should be separating them, not because you did anything to make them want to separate themselves from you. It's because they utterly despise everything that you stand for and what you're about. Not because every time they see this nigga a Jesus freak, all they talk about is Jesus, 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 Jesus. Not one of them type of people, because I don't think nobody want to be around nobody like that. You know what I'm saying? Because even the master of them didn't do that. Now, I ain't mad at nobody if they feel like they want to share the word with everybody they come across. You know what I'm saying? At the same token, the men didn't sit down and preach to everybody they came across. Sometimes they might have just sat there and chilled out. They were regular people. You know what I'm saying? You take the opportunity to drop word when opportunity present. But man, we eating right now, bro. I'm not trying to drop no. Nigga feel like you just supposed to just preach to a nigga every time you see him. You know what I'm saying? For real, that's how people act, because that's how a lot of people do. Do you know about your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? I know about these breadsticks, though. Talk to me after dinner about it. This ain't the place, cuz. You know what I'm saying? Nigga want to try to preach to you on the basketball court, in the gym. Cuz, wait till we finish. Niggas will do it. You know what I'm saying? At the same token, though, if you really about that, people will separate themselves from you. And it's nothing personal. Because you got to ask yourself a question. Didn't we just read that in Exodus 33? If we, your people, separate us from the nations. So if you want the Ruach, you have to suck that separation up. So if you don't want to be separated from your friends or your family, then you don't love Yahuwah like you say you do. You don't really want to be down with him like you say you do. Because you're trying to hold on to people who he going to kill. What you going to do if he kill your friends who you say you love? You going to be mad at him for it? What would you do if you the one got to execute judgment on him? This your best friend since childhood. This your daddy, your favorite uncle. And y'all put the sword in your hand and say, yeah, I need you to kill that nigga. What you going to do? That's my uncle though. Kill that nigga right along with him. I'm dead serious though, because people don't sit back and look at that, because regardless if you know it or not, our law teaches that. So what would you niggas do if you say you believe in Yah and you caught your mama putting up that Christmas tree in the book, say you supposed to be the first one to put a rock upside her head? Or your husband? What you gonna do? Or your child? Or they coming and take them out, baby, you know we love us some Jesus. You gotta worship Jesus in the name of Tammuz. Mama, I gotta kill you. I gotta kill you, mama. I gotta kill you. I can't have no pity on you. That sound rough, don't it? People don't want to, because you gotta understand something. We know Paul said you're gonna execute judgment on these people, did he not? So you might have to kill your own friends. You might have to kill family members to execute the judgment on you. What did Moses say when he caught them worshiping that golden calf? What did he stand up and ask them people? Who on y'all side? Levi stood up. They ain't sit back and look at, shoot, that's my people, man. Shoot. What you want me? You mean do what? I got you. Cut this nigga all whole head off. Because their loyalty was to Yah, not to man. You know what I'm saying? And that's where our problem come in at, is we are more loyal to people than we are to our Alahym, but you want the blessings of your Alahym with disloyalty to him. Don't work like that. You got to be loyal to him even when it's quote unquote inconvenient for you in the grand scheme of life. People don't like that, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? What we got? John 6:44. Now, I ain't telling nobody to go kill their people because you see them got a Christmas tree in the house. Please do not go catch you a murder case. I'm not responsible for your behavior. You know what I'm talking about? Don't get on the phone talking about he told me to do it. I ain't told you to do nothing, nigga. You did that on your own. You was old Menendez, nigga. You wanted to kill your mom anyway. You wanted to kill her anyway. Want to blame it on the Lord. Don't blame it on him.
That coming in the latter time.
Yeah, that come at the end. But just during the time when we were in the land, Deuteronomy 13 states plainly that if you called a nigga worshiping another God, you were supposed to get him out of here. And you weren't supposed to have no pity on them. If you call anybody committing any sin that was worthy of death, you were supposed to kill him on the spot. He said, you the first one supposed to stone him. And if you didn't stone him, then he considered you to be covering up the sin and you was going to die with him. You know what I'm saying? See, that's what nigga don't realize. If you know a nigga is committing a sin worthy unto death, and you don't say nothing to him about it, you worthy of the same punishment, cause you're condoning it. Y'all gonna stone. If you walk the nigga and say, "Oh my God, what y'all in here doing?" He be like, "Bro, don't say nothing." And you don't say nothing, you going to hell with him. You might as well jump in them guts right along with him. You might as well. Shoot, if you gonna go to hell for it, shoot, I might as well get a tickle in my pickle too. But ain't that type of party it is today, nigga. You just asked me not to say nothing. Who? If you gonna go to hell for it, you might as well get the benefit for it. You seen this nigga here getting freaked about that's my old lady. She our old lady today. Want me to be quiet. Nigga got me bit. Well, you can go to hell having fun. Don't go to hell like this here. I ain't gonna say nothing. You holding all these niggas secrets. You ain't getting none of the benefit. I'm like this here, boy. I seen that nigga knee deep in that girl or inch deep, son. That nigga was doing something. That nigga was doing something. I didn't know he going to hell for it. I seen him. I'm telling. You know what I'm talking about? I'm telling. That nigga around here stealing. We see Alicia stealing out of Bath and Body Works. We told on her too. That's why they fired her.
I ain't get fired. I resigned.
You ain't resigned, nigga. You just stopped showing up. That nigga ain't giving no notice or nothing. Nigga say, "You coming in today?" I ain't been here in 3 weeks, but is you coming? Season 44. It's all right. 43. It's all right. You quit your job, ain't tell me. I done did it before. I stole them people money, never came back. Say Yahushua therefore answered and said unto them, "Murmur not among yourselves. No man can come unto me except my Abba which hath sent me draw him, and I will raise him up at the last day. It is written in the prophets, and they shall all be taught of Alahym. Every man therefore that have heard," yeah, that door's not going to open, "and have learned of Abba, come unto me. Not that any man have seen Abba, save he which is of Alahym, he hath seen Abba." So what do we understand from this? He has to teach you in the way to get you to Alahym. This is what he has to do. This is what he has to do. Because he said to teach me your way that I may know you. So let's look at Acts chapter 22. Let's look at Acts 9 first. Let's do that. I got a lot of stuff on my brain. I have to figure out how it works. Acts 9 and 3. "And as he journeyed, he came near Damascus, and suddenly there shined round about him a light from Shammahim. And he fell to the earth and heard a voice saying unto him, Shaul, Shaul, why persecute thou me? And he said, Who art thou, master? And the master said, I am Yahushua, whom thou persecutest. Is it hard for thee to kick against the pricks? And he, trembling and astonished, said, Master, what wilt thou have me to do? And the master said unto him, Arise and go into the city, and it shall be told thee what thou must do. Now, does anybody know, just off general principle, let's see where everybody vision at. We're not finna read all this stuff. What was Paul doing?
Persecuting the Jews.
But what else was he doing? Because he said persecute. Why did Hamashiach say persecute thou me? Why are you persecuting me? Why did he say that?
He killed people that believe in him.
So he was killing the Mashiach at that point. Because remember what I told you last night when he said, what you do to the least of these my brethren, you do it to me. So when he was persecuting and killing the people, he was not doing it to the people. That's the point that I want to get y'all to sit back and understand. When somebody says something against you, they're not saying something against you. Remember he said if they speak evil of you falsely for my name's sake. If you understand that when it comes to the word, then your level of getting upset with niggas would dissipate. Because they don't have a problem with you. They got a problem with Alahym. And I told y'all this before. Therefore you wouldn't take it personally. Because it ain't got nothing to do with you. You know what I'm saying? You gotta understand something. If they could kill y'all, they would. But since they can't, they kill you. If they could cuss y'all out, they would. But since they can't, they cuss you out. You know what I'm saying? If they could snake and pull all types of foul and sour moves on y'all, they would. You gotta realize something. If you could pull a sour move on a servant of y'all, you would do it to Yahushua. I don't care what a nigga say out their mouth. I wouldn't do the Lord like that. Yeah, you would, because you did me like that. You can't turn around and say, I do the will of Alahym and snake me, nigga. That means you'll snake him. That put everything in a whole different perspective at that point. Maybe niggas would consider their behavior, but they don't because they hate you. They just don't want to open their mouth and say it. You know what I'm saying? Have you not noticed how people get all squeamish and squirmy when judgment according to the text is brought up about their behavior, yet they scream to be believers in the word? But niggas always ready to talk about somebody else's judgment though. When they judgment come on, see brother, you don't know what you talking about. See, you just hating on me, bro. You just don't want me to be saved. How am I hating on you, nigga? I hate when people say somebody's hating on you. If somebody's hating on you, that means they're jealous and envious of you. That means they want what you have or they don't want you to attain to something. Sometimes people just telling you the truth. Nobody hating on you, nigga. Oh, man, your music sucks. You hating on me. No, nigga, your music sucks. I don't like it. 1 million other people may like it. I do not. It's not a personal shot at you. I don't like it. Your beat sucks. Your rhyme pattern's off. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work for me. You know what I'm saying? You see an outfit and you be like, nigga, I don't like it. Oh, you hating on me. I don't like it. So clear when somebody says that, that means they actually hold your opinion in very, very high regard and they're upset that you haven't went along with it. You know what I'm saying? Because you can say an outfit and be like, nigga, I don't like it. Shoot, you ain't got to wear it. I like it. That's all that matters. I mess with that nigga about his birthday shirt all the time. He likes it. That's really all that matters. I mean, nigga, you'll mess with him because that's your people, but if you like it, I don't gotta like it because I ain't gotta wear it. You know what I'm saying? But if he didn't like it, guess what he wouldn't do? He wouldn't wear it, and I wouldn't. He'd be like, I don't like this shirt, I ain't wearing it. I like it, that's why I wore it. You gotta remember that. I like it. You know what I'm saying? People wear ugly stuff to everybody all the time. I guarantee you, every one of us has seen somebody be like, that's ugly, I wouldn't wear it. The key point is you wouldn't wear it. But you got to take that personal though, because the nigga tell you, I don't like them shoes. He said he don't like your hoodie, Stanley. He wouldn't wear it. Stanley said he been working out. He said that's his work sweater. And they say he was working at a psychedelic spot, man. They needed him to use some neon paint. He got on his hoodie. That hoodie was blue. You know what I'm talking about? But for real though, because people quick to scream that when they hating on me, bro. You know what I'm saying? You got to watch a nigga always say that all the time. Because that's a nigga who trying to cover up that he sucks. You know what I'm saying? Or he doing something he ain't got no business. Nigga quick, especially if you straightening them. Because y'all know that's a lot of people love to scream when you straightening them. You hating on me, bro. You hate. Okay, I'm hating my nigga. I hate everything about you. You know what I'm saying? I hate your breath. I hate your name. I hate your mama. You know what I'm talking about? I hate the hospital you were born at. You know what I'm saying? All that. If you're going to hate, then say, let's tell out this here. But that's what he was doing, right? But what's the other thing that Paul wasn't doing? It's one key major component that he was not doing. That also got him in trouble. Let's look at it. Huh?
I got him in trouble with revolution.
Yeah, let's look at it. 2 Timothy chapter 1, if I'm not mistaken. It might be 1 Timothy chapter 1. 1 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 12. And I thank Yahushua HaMashiach, our master, who have enabled me, for that he have counted me faithful, putting me into the ministry, who was before a blasphemer, a persecutor and injurious, but I obtained mercy because I did it ignorantly in unbelief. So the main thing that he wasn't doing is that he did not believe, which is what made him a blasphemer. You know what I'm saying? See, when you deny Mashiach, then you deny the Father. See, Job 16 and 19 said, my witness is in Shamahim and my record is on high. So the Father has left a record of his Son. When you say that Yahushua is not the son of Alahym, you are called Abba alive. Therefore, you have become a blasphemer at that point. Because Alahym is not a man that he should lie, nor the son of a man that he should repent. So every individual who says Yahushua is not Mashiach, you call him Abba Yahuwah alive. Therefore, you have become a blasphemer. And it's not my job to do nothing to you. That's Yahuwah's job. But nevertheless, we talked about one of the things to know him. That's why we looked at the poor aspect of it, that it was to know him. Then we also looked at Noah last night, that he found grace. You know what I'm talking about? But what did he cause him to do to become a separated seed? Let's look at what we need to do to become a separated seed. John 3 and 1. You should already know. Ain't nobody got no breast milk for you, cuz. There was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Yahudim. The same came to Yahushua by night and said unto him, Rabbi, we know that thou art a teacher come from Alahym, for no man could do these miracles that thou do except Alahym be with him. Yahushua answered and said unto him, Truly, truly, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of Alahym. Nicodemus saith unto him, How can a man be born when he is old? And how can he enter the second time into his mother's womb and be born? Yahushua answered, Truly, truly, I say unto thee, except a man be born of water and of the Ruach, he cannot enter into the kingdom of Alahym. That which is born of flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Ruach is Ruach. I'm asking you a question. Besides seed, what are the other meanings of the character Noon? Do you remember any other meanings of the character Noon? Water. You understand what I'm telling you? Fish. Things of that nature. So when we look at it is right, or separated water, because separated water or separated seed is still the Ruach nonetheless. You know what I'm saying? So now that if we sit back and you say you got to be born of the water and the Ruach, that takes us right back to Exodus 33 that you're going to have to be born of Khan. You're going to have to be born of grace, of a free gift. Which takes us back to Jeremiah 31 in the new covenant. Which we have to establish that new gift, because that's what's going to get you accepted. Because that's what he's telling you right here. If you're not born of water and the Ruach, you will not be accepted. See, nobody likes to look at the fact that you will not be accepted. Now, I also mentioned another person who had the Ruach fall upon them, and they did nothing to get it, kept no law, and that was John the Baptist. That's what I mentioned in the Luke. John the Baptist had the Ruach from what? The womb. The womb. What law did he keep? What law did he keep to get it? When we look at David, where's the first place you see David being justified by faith versus the law? It's a very common story. You also know it.
Goliath.
With Goliath. Everybody in Yasharal was fearful of Goliath except this young shepherd boy. He said, I will push this uncircumcised Philistine down. He said, who are you to defy the armies of Yahuwah? His confidence was in Yah. This is what made David to be king, not because of any law. His upholding of the law afterwards, because he was a man after Alahym's own heart, but it was the fact that he trusted Allah. Come on, man, you're talking about a man who's 7, maybe 8 feet tall. You know what I'm talking about? And who knows how tall David was? He could have been 5'8". He could have been 5'10". And he looked him in the face and say, nigga, I don't see you, cuz. He didn't say he didn't see him because David was strong. David never mentioned himself once. Not one time. And if you actually look at everything David experienced, he never mentioned himself once. Matter of fact, when you look at David's whole story, you don't see anywhere where David ever boasted in the law once. He boasted in Yahuwah every single time. When Absalom was running to kill him, who did he boast in? Yah. Who delivered him? Yah. You know the one time when he was finna boast in himself when he was finna kill Nabal. And how did that stop? Because Abigail came and stopped him. And then he considered and said, I know Yahuwah sent you to put that word in your mouth to tell me not to avenge myself and to boast in him. And that I ought to put my trust in he who judges righteously. He said, I thank you that I didn't go to avenge myself and therefore sin against Yahuwah. Because his trust was in Yah and not in himself. When Saul came to get him, he consistently put his trust in Yahuwah. Because of his trust in Yahuwah, saved the incident with Bathsheba and Uriah the Hittite. That's what called that man to keep them man laws. See, everybody loves, I love King David. He was a man after Yah's own heart. David was a faithful man, though. Niggas love to talk about David, but you don't have the faith of David, though. You only want to talk about David because you feel like he was a warrior. You ain't got his heart either, nigga. I know if you ain't got his faith, you ain't got his heart. He had that heart because he had faith in Alahym. He said, I know I can kill anybody. The law tell me that. Deuteronomy 20 said, I fight for you. I kill all these niggas. That's why David was willing to go and kill all the Philistines and chop off all their foreskins and bring them back. You know what I'm saying? You can't have that type of confidence to go kill some people and cut off their foreskins if you ain't know somebody riding with you. Average nigga be like this here, shoot, I'm finna die. You know what I'm talking about? But then that's clearly, and then the reverence that David had for the king. Because I surely ain't putting my hand on nobody's penis to cut off his foreskin. I just won't marry your daughter. Do you know what I'm talking about? Just get me another woman. You're asking a lot right here, right now. Or I'm going to send somebody else to do it. You go get him. Well, I got to do it. I'll rank you. Straight up. That's a mean task. But also show you how wicked that Saul was. He'd get killed trying to get those. You know how mad that man had to be for this man to come back with a bag full of foreskins?
Right, that's what you asked for.
That's what you asked for, baby. You know what I'm saying? Let me get that young woman though. You see what I'm talking about? I know he had to be hot. And he said, I know he gonna die. He come back, bag full of foreskins. I got him, baby. Blood dripping everywhere. What you gonna do with that? Just somebody buried. Somebody. That mean task. So now how we gonna work this here, right? Now, of course, to be born of the water and the ruach, you have to accept that Yahushua is the Savior, correct? Let's look at John 20. And then we're going to look at the book of Job. Does anybody, I mentioned it last night, but if anybody didn't hear it, I'll ask it again. Anybody know what Job's sin was? He boasted in his works. So when we look at him boasting in his works and we see him get cut by Alahym first and then Yah, and then we go to Paul's letters, no one should be able to ever tell you that again and you believe that, or even question it or doubt what Paul is talking about when we will have evidence to the contrary. I know I mentioned about getting the Spirit by faith today. I don't know if we're going to get to that. It'll probably carry in the next week. I know I mentioned John 20, did I not? Yes, I did. John 20 and 27. And after that, we would go, I think Job 32 is where we begin at, because we got to examine a lot of Job. I get cuz they didn't want to come back, say we were taking too long. That man was scaring you? Why he was scaring you? You thought he was going to come pinch your cheeks, tap you on your nose, and give you some candy. How you seen that man had a dirt stain on his shirt?
When I went to the trash.
So you were mad at that man because his shirt ain't clean? He said your drawers ain't clean.
Then he would be like,
Yeah, you know you like the free ball, nasty bastard.
no.
Nasty nigga.
That was him. You said put sweat on those drawers.
He said that's what he do? Oh, I finna say, golly, you niggas nasty. My homeboy used to do that up the road, man. I'd be like, boy, you tripping. Now homeboy from Polk County, that nigga ain't never wear no drawers. I'd be like, come on, cuz. You can't be doing that. Somebody gonna wear them pants after you. Yeah, I know it, but shoot, at least give me an illusion that your bare nuts ain't been, not the drawers, I'm talking about the pants. Like, that nigga was free balling. I said, boy, you wild, boy. At the same token, I ain't mad at him, though. Because, boy, the worst thing in the world is to have to put on some drawers that 30 other niggas done wore. You don't know how many niggas done wore them drawers before you got them. Niggas done boo-booed in them drawers, peed in them drawers, let out children in them drawers. You know, the community drawers. You around here trying to shoot the laundromat a couple bucks so he can give you some fresh out the box drawers, man, that no man has ever worn before. Because you'll definitely go up that road, boy, and get a pair of, you sit back and look like, come on, cuz, it's children's stains in these drawers. You gonna give me these, man?
Oh, y'all don't get to get your own drawers?
Yeah, you get your own drawer. Used. You know what I'm talking? No cracker might shoot you one pair of good clean drawers for your visitation so you can be a little crisp. Like they give you one good uniform for your visitation, you be a little crisp. But drawers and t-shirts, shoot. Niggas paying for brand new drawers and t-shirts. Shoot, nigga, I used to work in the laundry. It's love. Nigga around here shoot you some money, wash my stuff separate. Shoot, I got you. $30 a week, nigga. Who you telling? Nigga want to work in that laundry room in that kitchen. Boy, I used to be selling all them people food. Nigga say, boy, I want a double cheeseburger. I got you. And we were making them nigga bag lunches too. Yeah.
In the laundry?
No, nigga in the kitchen.
They gave y'all jackets.
Yeah, they do. Shoot, ain't worth nothing. That jacket thinner than a nigga t-shirt. They give you thermals in the wintertime though. You know what I'm talking about? But them jackets though, that junk ain't nothing but some can. That junk ain't gonna do nothing. That wind just sit there and laugh at that. You put that jacket on, that wind laugh at you. Nigga, we was working outside until last night. It was 19 degrees, man. Why you let that baby fall? You're a horrible mother. Horrible. John 20 and 27. Then saith he to Thomas, reach hither thy finger, and behold my hands, and reach hither thy hand, and thrust it into my side. And be not faithless, but believe it. And Thomas answered and said unto him, my master and my Alahym. Yahushua saith unto him, Thomas, because thou hast seen me, thou hast believed. Baruch are they that have not seen, and yet have believed. And many other signs truly did Yahushua in the presence of his disciples, which are not written in this book. But these are written that you might believe that Yahushua is the Mashiach, the son of Alahym, and that believing you might have life through his name. This is also taking you back to Jeremiah 31. Before we read Job 32, let's go to Acts 26 and 16 real fast with a statement that Mashiach made to Paul. Oh, that's Mordecai. Verse 15. And I said, who art thou, master? And he said, I am Yahushua whom thou persecute. But rise and stand upon thy feet, for I have appeared unto thee for this purpose, to make thee a minister and a witness. I got something else for that witness, so just hold on. Both of these things which thou hast seen, of those things in which I will appear unto thee, delivering thee from the people and from the Gentiles, unto whom now I send thee, to open their eyes and turn them from darkness to light. See, let me ask y'all a question. Can the law open your eyes? See, now let's pause and let's hold Acts 26 and let's just look at Psalms 119 real fast, because you know somebody might try to dispute you on that. And after we read Psalms 119, we'll go to John chapter 9. Psalms 119 and no, it's not 30. It's 18. Verse 18, my apologies. I'm going to pull that word up for wondrous. Well, they playing all manner type of music in there. Oh, they sound like they watching the Japanese cartoon. Okay. He said, open thou my eyes that I may behold wondrous things out of thy Torah. Now the word for wondrous is palah. And listen what it said, right? It means to be marvelous, to be wonderful, surpassing, to be extraordinary, separate by distinguishing action. So now if we're looking at something wonderful, is there any separate, distinctible action that you could see out of just thou shalt not steal? You know what I'm saying? If you come up for the feast days and you're going from a long place to sell what I blessed you with, and you can buy whatever your soul lusteth after, absolutely not. So when he's telling you to open your eyes, because he's talking about from darkness to light, what does darkness symbolize? Death. What does light symbolize? Life. Come back to Acts 26. You have to look at the distinction of what it is, because he say, if your grace be with you, that I may know you and to know the way. Yahushua say he the way. The only way you can know the way is your eyes got to be open. And we didn't even read in Luke 24 when it said when Mashiach was talking to them, they couldn't recognize who he was. Then they said their hearts, he said, did our hearts not burn when he opened up the scriptures unto us? He had literally, I guess we won't have to look at it for the sake of the conversation for you to see it yourself. He literally opened wondrous things out the law unto them by this distinguishing action. This is why he say, if you don't believe me for my words, believe me for what? The work's sake, the action. Because when you see me fulfill this action, you're actually seeing the manifestation of the free gift that was promised to you. Nevertheless, to open their eyes and to turn them from darkness to light, from the power of Hashatan unto Alahym, that they may receive forgiveness of sins and inheritance among them which are sanctified by faith that is in me. Did we not read forgiveness of sins in Jeremiah 31? What is the inheritance of those who, didn't you notice what he said? Sanctified by the what? The faith that is in him. See, these niggas ain't set apart by nothing. These niggas think they set apart because they Israel. We just set apart nation. No, you just a nigga. You just a nigga who know you're an Israelite. I told y'all this last night. I'm going to repeat it again. Niggas lower the godly standard regularly. Most of the time, people lower the godly standard for a mate. You know what I'm saying? Or to be accepted by friends and family. You know what I'm saying? Nehemiah was up there on that wall. And they say, bro, I can't come down off this wall. I'm doing a great work. I can't come down to you. You got to come up here to meet me. The same thing when Mashiach was on the stake. If you be the son of Alahym, come down. He ain't even say nothing to him because I can't come down. What was the great work? What is the work of Alahym according to the words of Yahusha? To believe on him whom he has sent. That's the work of Alahym. See, these niggas think that I'm doing the works. What's the thing you always hear them Hebrew niggas say? Where your works at? Where your works at? Shoot, nigga, if you ain't got no faith, you ain't work no work, nigga. You ain't even clocked in. You know what I'm saying? You have not clocked in, nigga. You just like a nigga, you just like that joke that nigga said, you can't go to McDonald's and think you gonna get paid because you walked in there and started dropping fries and making Big Macs. You're not on the payroll. So if you don't believe in Alahym, your name ain't written in Shamahim, therefore you ain't even on the payroll. You just a nigga who keeping savage just to keep it. You just a nigga who don't eat, might as well ate all your ham sandwiches, nigga. You know you love them. You know you like to go to the crab boil. You might have well stuck your head in the pot and got you a potato and a piece of corn with it. Go ahead, get you some shrimp scampi, nigga. Go ahead and dance with whatever that is they playing. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and watch all your porno movies, your dirty movies. I seen somebody trip me out. I seen a nigga say, boy, don't you know if you masturbate, that means you turned on by a man. Technically, you're gay. I said, no. But it's honest, though. We got a little Asian people finna come in here. Wrong place, little Asian man. Wrong place, little Asian man. That nigga was taller. That nigga was on boy. Somebody you were taller than standard. That was a full grown man. Understand? So he like to go to the Chinese restaurants. There's always somebody in there. He gonna be taller than. Hey, we gotta we don't get him all the time. Sometimes he opened himself up today with his fluorescent hoodie, but I'm gonna leave him alone on his hoodie. Cause I had a jacket like that back in '91.
I have a phone case that look like that.
Got a what?
I said I got a phone case.
Yes, you do. Yeah, my uncle bought me that jacket when we was in Little Rock. That jacket was ugly, boy. It wasn't no paint splatters though. It just was multiple colors everywhere. Neon, everything neon. Nevertheless, let's come to Job 32. Because I know I mentioned we had to look at Job last night, and with my review of that, this could be a very long process. And 32:1, the book of Job. We got to look at everything where Elihu declares his opinion, everything he got to say. 1. 32:1. So when we look at the wondrous things or the distinguishable things of action, then of course, you know, y'all willing as the course that we going through this, we'll have to point out distinguishable actions that Yahusha did to open your eyes to the wondrous things that were contained in the law. But Job 32:1. So these three men ceased to answer Job because he was righteous in his own eyes. So this is why they start talking to Job. His three friends. That's sin number 1. You know what I'm saying? That's sin number 1. Now this gonna go to an epistle letter now. Then was kindled the wrath of Elihu the son of Barachel the Buzite, and the kindred of Ram against Job was his wrath kindled, because he did what? He justified himself. He did what? He justified himself rather than Alahym. Now how could a man justify himself other than Alahym? Because the book said that Job was a what type of man? Not righteous.
Oh, perfect.
He was a perfect man. And he eschewed what? Evil. So this man was no sinner. So at the end of the day, what was he not seeking to be justified? He wasn't seeking to be justified by his faith. He was seeking to be justified by his works. To go to Romans, we finna look at all that. It's going to go to Romans, it's going to go to Galatians, and then when you see Paul say this, now you have a scriptural reference. See, yeah, because we're going to actually see y'all came to rebuke Job for this. Let's look at one of those places. Galatians 2:15. And this is what I'm going to do to myself. See if y'all be He said, I'm tired of the apologetics. Then y'all know what apologetics is. Apologetics is a form of defending a teaching or a doctrine. So if you hear somebody say, I'm a Christian apologetic, that means they're defending Christianity. Yeah, I mean, it's a scholarly term. You know what I'm saying? For I never met so many niggas who want to be a scholar before in my entire life. I just heard a nigga on the debate the other day. Nigga, you ain't citing no sources, nigga. I come with scholarship, nigga. Scholarship. A nigga told me something about, nigga, I'm a scholar. I say I'm a preacher because I don't want to be a scholar. I have no desire to be a scholar. Tell me where y'all said be a scholar and I'll become one. I'd rather be a co-elef and an arranger of sentences than be a scholar. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be a scholar. He didn't send me to be a scholar. He sent me to preach. And that's why niggas have a problem with a nigga. Where your sources at? Nigga, I didn't claim to be a scholar. I am a preacher. There's a difference. I don't need sources. I'm not a scholar. I came here. He sent me to preach the word, and that's what I shall do. You know what I'm saying? If a man wants to be a scholar, by all means, you hear them nigga, where your scholarship at? Where your scholarship at? Shoot, nigga, shoot at the college, nigga, because they ain't give me one. That's why I ain't go. You know what I'm talking about, nigga? That's why I ain't go. Shoot, I'd had a scholarship. I done went to college too. I just told you I seen a nigga talking about niggas believe Paleo Hebrew is a language. Niggas like, yeah, they do. Somebody asked him a genuine question. Well, what is Paleo? Are you serious? See, now I would have cussed that nigga out. You know what I'm saying? Nah, nigga, I asked you the question because I was being funny. Stupid nigga, clearly I don't know. Hold on. Hello?
Hello, Dwayne?
Yeah, I got you, man.
This is Stanley Pump up here in South Carolina. How you doing?
All right, hey, let me hit you right back because I'm in the middle of something.
Okay.
All right. Oh, that was your uncle right there? About the mobile home. Yeah, that was your uncle right there. What I was going to say, right? So, he told the dude it was a style of writing. But biblical Hebrew is the language. And I find that hilarious because if it's a style of writing has to come from what? A language. In order to have a style of writing, what you're writing has to come from what you're speaking, which means it comes from a language. But regardless of that, the Paleo Hebrew characters are the same exact characters in biblical Hebrew that mean the same exact thing. So what is the difference? That's what I would like to know. Regardless of how you draw the lamad, it still means to teach. Regardless how you draw the aleph, it still means head. Do you know what I'm saying? Regardless how you draw the cot, it still means to separate, fence, or divide. So so you draw it like this, and I'm wrong because I draw it like this. Sounds like somebody's a douchebag. That nigga says they call us grammar Nazis. I call you a wicked nigga. Because you put more focus on grammar than you do faith of Alahym, and you ridicule people who put more focus on the faith of Alahym because you want a nigga to be focused on quote-unquote scholarship. You know what I'm saying? Scholarship, and he say he take the pride in their own craftiness and cast them down headlong for their own destruction. So go ahead and be wise, smarty art nigga. He said, I seen a nigga say, I don't see any Hebrew camps teaching textual criticism. Because you're supposed to be preaching the word, idiot.
They want to do everything
So I can criticize the text, but you can't criticize sin, though. Get your stupid butt out of here, nigga. You sound dumb. You're gonna be so smart and feel like Yahuwah, look at all the scholarship I did. Depart from me, you work of iniquity. I never knew you. Where am I going to hell? Oh, you know why you going. Because you a wicked bastard. You never believed in me. You never trusted in me. You know what I'm saying? You just wanted to flex some knowledge that you felt you possessed. Am I saying is there anything wrong with being a textual critic? Absolutely not. But don't claim to be a preacher, though. Because you ain't giving the people what they need. The people don't need textual criticism. They need salvation. They do. Niggas is, hey, guess what, right? Now, one thing for certain, two things for sure. I ain't saying a nigga got to go to no university to be no scholar. Because I know his dudes in the street know way more than anybody at any university. That guaranteed. And I know some of these people who in these circles that I'm referencing are highly intelligent people and are actually skilled scholars in whatever it is that they study and they manifest it. Of that I will not take away from them. You know what I'm saying? The problem is the condescending and derogatory attitude and words they use towards people who are not mired in scholarship as they are and are focused more on the faith and salvation of Alahym. They want to ridicule people who say that that's my singular focus. If that's what your singular focus is, brother, by all means do it. But don't ridicule me because my desire is to save my soul and not to be seen as a scholar. That's my problem. Can't never speak down on somebody who has a desire to learn. The problem is as the book tell you, that knowledge puffeth up and love instructs. They get so puffed up with the information that they attain that they forget to instruct the people. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem. And that doesn't benefit the people. Because it's supposed to be beneficial to the people. Because you're supposed to be teaching them about Yah so they can get to him. Galatians 2 and 16, I should say. He say, knowing that a man is not justified by the works of the Torah, because we're going to clearly see that with Job, correct? But by the faith of Yahushua HaMashiach, even we have believed in Yahushua HaMashiach, that we might be justified by the faith of Mashiach, and not the works of the Torah. For by the works of the Torah shall no flesh be justified. Now it said that, what did Job say? It said that Job did? He justified himself over Alahym. So he felt like because he was keeping these works and doing these works, that Yah should do this. Come over here to Psalms 143. And verse 1. This is what he says. Hear my prayer, O you who will give ear to my supplications. In thy faithfulness answer me, and in thy righteousness. Enter not into judgment with thy servant, for in thy sight shall no man living be justified. Now, them strong words. Now, you know in Isaiah 53, he say, by the knowledge of my righteous servant will justify many. Now, let's look at the Hebrew word for justify in this particular passage. Let's do that. See, a Hebrew nigga don't want to hear that. They say, oh, you a Christian. You trying to like to see it. You trying to put the law. And that ain't nothing but to be just or to be righteous. So to be just or to be righteous in the eyesight of Yahuwah, the law is not going to do it. It's not going to do it. And clearly, Alahym understood this here because Job had him high. Because he was trying to justify. What's the only thing that Job can justify himself in? I keep the law. I keep commandments. This should not be happening to me. I don't eat pork. When the poor come to me, I feed them. You know what I'm saying? It's not that Job was a proud individual, so to speak, but he felt like he should be justified in the eyesight of Alahym because of commandment keeping. But yet he was neglecting the faith the whole time. Come on back to Galatians chapter 2.
You say faith produces obedience to the law.
Absolutely. That's why he said the just shall live by their faith, or the righteous obedience of faith. See, right now, I'm going to tell y'all something that niggas arguing about right now. This is no lie from textual criticism. They saying that Matthew chapter 28, from about like verse 15 to the end of the chapter, is not there. It's added. And they talking about, see, you ain't supposed, number one, you ain't supposed to be baptized in the actual name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Anyway, the Holy Ghost ain't got a name. First and foremost, he doesn't have a name. He's not even a person. It's the essence and power of Alahym. But they coming with that because basically, you know what they doing? They telling people not to get baptized is what they doing, whether intentionally or unintentionally. You know what I'm saying? Because you know it's a lot of Hebrews that don't believe you should be baptized. That's a Christian thing, even though it's all through the law, all through the prophets, all through the writers. It's there. And this is what he means by opening my eyes to the wondrous things or distinguishable action. When Mashiach told John say, you want me to baptize you? I have need to be baptized by you. He say, suffer it to be to fulfill all righteousness, to things that are just or right. So there was nobody being immersed before John the Baptist. So why would Mashiach make this statement? Because those who know the law would say, yeah, in Exodus chapter 40, you know, the high priest got to be washed and immersed before he can enter into the high priest office and receive the anointing. He has just opened my eyes to a wondrous, distinguishable action out of his law. Or what about when Naaman the Syrian was told to cleanse himself of his leprosy and to get in that water and wash? You know what I'm saying? And he had to believe that by faith. There was no law that Naaman the Syrian kept to justify him to be healed of his leprosy. But yet he dipped. When he went to run his mouth like, well, I can't get another rhythm out of it. He said, nigga, you want to be clean or what? Go and jump in that water, nigga. He went and jumped in that water and he boasted in his Alahym because he healed him. And I almost forgot John chapter 9, but we're going to get it in just a moment. You know what I'm saying?
What you say about that added part?
I can't say nothing about it because I don't have enough information on it to have a respectable opinion on the matter. So for me to speak on it would be highly irresponsible. So, but I think sometimes niggas just be wanting to argue about stuff just to argue about it. Because at the end of the day, you trying to argue about should you baptize or not. When you can read in Mark where he say baptize in the name of Yahushua. Everywhere else is because when you baptize in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Ruach HaKadosh, that is all completed when you baptize in the name of Yahushua. I came in my Abba's name and he received me not. That's it. You know what I'm saying? They're making a mountain out of molehill. This ain't nothing to argue about. This is smarty art niggas having smarty art nigga conversations. Ain't nobody saved in the whole equation. Nobody is going to be saved from this whole equation.
Somebody might be confused.
More so than anything. All I can see from it is somebody's going to be damned more than justified. That's all I can see come from that. But niggas like to have these conversations. Okay, like I told y'all last night. Nigga posted that video about the Color of the Cross movie. I told him what the movie's about. Do you believe the earth is flat around? I'm like, you really just asked me that, cuz? Like, are you serious, my nigga? Is the earth flat around? I say, cuz, you go argue that with somebody else. I'm not finna engage you in this conversation. I'm finna cut this off right now. Like, before you even get rolling and started. But the reason my point being is, you want to argue about something that can save no one. Your excuse is, it's about the love for the truth. That's your cop. That's your cap game.
Yeah, so maybe the love for the truth.
And I told him, I say, this is not the Hebrew word for truth, amat, which means faith and firmness and faith and establishing. So therefore, a love of the truth is a love for faith. So therefore, leave me alone unless you want to have a conversation about that. Because, nigga, I don't care if the earth is flat around. Just like I told y'all last week, and I had told Brandon before I talked, we can talk about if the earth is flat around and study it. Not on the Sabbath, though. We do that on our own time. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody's coming to hear that. I don't want to learn about that. Because if I learn if the earth, like I said, right, if you can say, who in here got a Ruach HaKadosh, and nobody raised their hand, then the earth being flat around means absolutely nothing. These people's souls are not saved. Therefore, this is a irrelevant and vain conversation that will not profit anyone. Because if somebody was to walk out this room and die, they going to hell. You know what I'm saying? But they knew the earth was flat before they left here. That's not acceptable in my eyesight, and I don't care what nan nigga feel about it. I tell and one of them niggas that. A person's soul is more important than that. You know what I'm saying? That is a conversation we can have on our own time. And even if we was determined that the earth was flat, we would never do a lesson about it. For what? Ain't nobody tuning in to see that.
And I'm about to say, but what? That ain't got nothing to do with nothing.
Ain't nobody tuning. It's about knowing the truth. Like because me and Will were talking about it, because he hollered at my man about it, who real deep on it. Don't nobody really think about the earth is flat around till somebody presents that information to them. Nobody thinks about it. You believe the earth is flat around? Nigga, I don't know. I never thought about it.
If you find out, it's going to make you feel in a certain type of way.
It ain't gonna make me feel no certain type of way. I don't care.
It's still going to keep them. Exactly. I'm trying to think of the benefit.
What is the benefit?
If you find out
It's about the truth.
There's no benefit in it. That's all we know.
You're going to still go to work.
I'm straight up.
Right.
Some of them niggas still gonna go beat they meat, tell a lie, sleep with a nigga wife, get high, get drunk. I know that earth flat though, baby. I'm a flat earther. I'm a flat earther, baby. That earth flat. You hear me? NASA been lying. Ain't nobody been around here talking about NASA. Ain't nobody think about NASA. You know what a nigga think about? My bills need to be paid.
Exactly.
You know what I'm talking about? Shoot. You know what I was thinking about the other day? He cried to lock my account out because a nigga reported me about a bumper. Not about if the earth flat around. Guess what? I gotta make sure I maintain and stand on that man word today. Y'all will. I see tomorrow. I do it all over again.
Right.
Make sure my faith don't fail. That's what I be thinking about. I
Ain't
ain't.
worry about the wrong.
We in a dome. We in a dome. I don't care what we in. Niggas say, look at that TV show Under the Dome. They know the truth. They put it in TV shows. I say, nigga, Under the Dome was a good show. I don't know about all that. I watched that show. I liked it too.
You put it in The Simpsons. You see.
All that stuff, man. Guess what? At the end of the day, a nigga put it to you like this here. You believe NASA over the word. No, nigga. You assume. See, this is what these niggas do. When you don't want to participate in the argument, they automatically assume that you believe the opposite of the argument.
Until you ask them a real question, they don't want to talk.
You know what I'm saying? So if you say I don't care, see, you believe the lies of NASA. No, nigga, I said I didn't care. I didn't say I believe the earth was round. I didn't say I believe the earth was flat. I may very well believe the earth is flat and actually might see eye to eye with your conclusion. My point is, I don't care. That's what they do. When I told that nigga, I don't care nothing about the earth being flat. You see, you believe in lies. Nigga, I never said I said I don't care.
You gotta rally you up.
Because the nigga wants you to argue. These are easy bait tactics. You gotta peep them. You know what I'm saying? We tell a nigga like this here though, right? You say you believe you got a love for the truth. You keep your penis in your pants. What that got to do with anything? What the earth got flat got to do with anything? My point exactly. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. You know what I'm saying? Verse 17. He say, but if while we seek to be justified by Mashiach, we ourselves are also found sinners, is therefore Mashiach the minister of sin? Alahym forbid. For if I build again the things which I destroyed, I make myself a transgressor. So if you try to rebuild the things that you had supposed to destroy by his stake and dying to that, now you have become a there's a difference between a transgressor, a sinner, and a person who practices iniquity. Someone who sins is in a perpetual state of sin. Someone who commits iniquity is lawless and is not governed by anything. A transgressor breaks a commandment. You know what I'm saying? They're not a lawless one, or they're not a sinner. There's a difference. Basically, also a sinner, also we know is an evil person. You know what I'm saying? A transgressor may not, by definition, necessarily be an evil person. But also at the same token, the book say the way of transgressors is hard. This is one of the reasons why, of course, this proverb was not given. This is one of the reasons why Job's friends looked at him the way that they looked at him. Because they saw him suffering and they automatically said, y'all ain't with him. Because if y'all was with him, why would he be going through that? He wouldn't be. And you know niggas do it now. Niggas like this, I got my own place, I got me a new car, I got me this, I got me that. Y'all blessing me. Not in sin, he ain't. Maybe he blessing you so you can go to hell with it, idiot. You ever thought about that? You ever thought he gave you your heart's desires and the things that you wanted for the purpose of destroying you? Did you ever think about that? See, niggas don't like think about that. This is how you know nobody don't know Yah. They don't really actually know the text. Nevertheless. For through the Torah, I'm dead to the Torah that I might live under Alahym. Now, what does he mean by this when he say through the Torah, I'm dead to the Torah? Is he talking about literal Torah, or is he talking about something in the Torah? We read one of them instances last night in Galatians 3:13, which was referenced in Deuteronomy 22. That cursed be he that hangeth from a tree. For Mashiach has redeemed us from the curse of the law. So through Mashiach dying according to the law, you're redeemed from the curse of the law, which is death. So by the law, you're redeemed from the law. You're dead to death by death. You're dead to death by the law, through the law. See, listen to what he said, right? For I, through the law, am dead to the law. So by Mashiach fulfilling the law, you're dead to the law of sin and death, that now you might live to Alahym and no longer be a debtor to live to the flesh. Very simple concept. That's not adding words to him, because that's what the dude said. I was adding words to Paul's mouth, and he was coming at me. I'm like, hey, speak for yourself. You were adding to Paul's words. I cannot make that claim. If I make that claim, then I would be a liar, like you are. Because if you were adding words to him, then you're basically telling me that I was a liar. I was lying. Doesn't matter if you weren't doing it intentionally, but you were lying nonetheless. You know what I'm saying? I'm not adding these because I can look at this and we can see this. I, through the law, am dead to the law. Mashiach is the word made flesh. The Torah sent in animated flesh. So through that, you dead to the law, which is death. Not the Torah itself, but because he used law, niggas automatically assume he talking about the whole law. Cannot sit back and see when this man say, if you eat of this tree, you shall surely die. He gave a law. And that law would be, if you sin, you die. Ezekiel 18:4 say, the soul that sin, it shall what? Die. So somebody had to come to make you dead to the law, through the law. He told you in Romans chapter 8 that Mashiach came and condemned sinful flesh in the flesh. You know what I'm saying? He said, if I wouldn't have came and did the works that no other man did, they would have not had sin. But now that I've came and did the works that no other man did, they have no cloak for their sin. So through the law, you're dead to the law. So now you can live the Alahym now, which takes us back to 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 1, when he said, hey man, let this mind be in you, the same mind that was in Yahushua HaMashiach. He that suffered in the flesh ceases from sin, that he should no longer live the rest of his time in the flesh to the lust of men or to the will of the Gentiles, but to Alahym. He said it's the flesh that it said it's the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. So the gift was this man's body that allows you to live. And we got a couple more precepts for that. We'll see if we can work all this stuff in. He said, I'm crucified with Mashiach, nevertheless I live, yet not I, but Mashiach live in me. The life which I live in the flesh, I live by the faith of the Son of Alahym, who loved me and gave himself for me. I do not frustrate the grace of Alahym, for if righteousness came by Torah, then Mashiach is dead in vain. And that's the whole point. You notice he said, I don't frustrate the favor. I don't frustrate the separated seed. I don't frustrate the con that got me. The law didn't get me accepted, because we were accepted by Yahuwah before he ever went to Sinai and got no law. You was already accepted. You were accepted the moment you sacrificed that firstborn lamb without blemish and put the blood on the doorpost of your house. You were accepted. No law required. So we say, I live by faith. I don't frustrate that. You know what I'm saying? Because if I was righteous by the law, this man died for, then what did he die for? Because there would have been no need for him to come. Because if there wouldn't have been a need for him to come, that means the covenant would have never been broken. And if the covenant was never been broken, then you wouldn't have needed a redeemer. You know what I'm saying? This is not difficult to understand. This man is not tossing the law under the bus. He's trying to get you to have a trust in Alahym, to know it is he that saved you. And you didn't say, but guess what they want to do? They want to be like Job. I want to justify myself more than Alahym. Come on back to Job 32. We'll read verse 2 again. Then was kindled the wrath of Elihu the son of Bacharel, the Buzite, kindred of Ram, against Job. Was his wrath kindled because he justified himself rather than Alahym. Also against his 3 friends was his wrath kindled because they had found no answer, yet had condemned Job. This is the same reason why Yahuwah's wrath was kindled against the chief priests and scribes when Pilate said, what evil have he done? And they didn't have any evil of which they could hit him with. You ever notice that when people always say, oh, that nigga this, that nigga that? What did he do? And what do a nigga be like? I just don't like that nigga. You know what I'm saying? You know that people be quick to say somebody evil and condemn him, and you ask them, well, what did he do? And you know what always be at the end of the day? That nigga just hurt their feelings. Nigga ain't actually did nothing to you. You know what I'm saying? Nigga ain't actually done nothing. He can hurt your feelings. So because somebody hurt your feelings, you want to call him evil. Really to deflect from the fact that you're evil. And you're doing the bad works. And you want to push that off on somebody else. Nevertheless. Now Elihu had waited till Job had spoken because they were elder than he. Now let's skip on all over that. We don't want all of that. We don't want everything that he got going on with this here. Let's look at verse, let's go on to Job 33. Let's just go on here to Job 33. We pick it up about verse 3, I suppose. Matter of fact, now let's go on here to about verse 7. We'll take it about verse 6, 33 and 6. Behold, I am according to thy wish in Alahym's steed. I am also formed out of the clay. So he's telling them that he's a man. That he's just speaking on Alahym's behalf. Behold, my terror shall not make thee afraid, neither shall my hand be heavy upon thee. Surely thou hast spoken in my hearing, and I heard the voice of thy word saying, I am clean without transgression. I am innocent, neither is there any iniquity in me. Behold, he find occasions against me, and he count me for his enemy. He put my feet in the stocks, he marked all my paths. Who got their feet put in some stocks? You know who got their feet put in some stocks? No, it was the master himself. Stocks ain't nothing but like, back in the day to put somebody in the stocks and they do them like that. Basically, they hung him in front of that tree. Because didn't Mashiach say he was innocent? There was no iniquity in him. He was clean from transgression, was he not? He said, behold, in this thou art not just, I will answer thee, the Alahym is greater than man. Why dost thou strive against him? For he give not account of any of his matters. You know what he just told y'all? People speak against Yahuwah because he ain't giving account of anything that he do. But all of y'all are parents, for the most part, in this room. Do you tell your children every single solitary thing that you do? Is it necessary for them to know every single solitary thing that you do? Is it necessary for them to know every single solitary plan or work that you plan to execute? Absolutely not. What do you like to keep your kid in the car? Where we going? Just ride. Don't worry about where we going. Because you're going to go wherever I take you at, nigga, you in the car. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we look at y'all like people, and that's somebody who's faithless. that feel like Yah has to give account of every single. Why he ain't tell us about this? Why he ain't tell about that? That's all. And that's all. Just like your parents do, and just like you do your children. I tell you what you need to know. You don't need to know that. What benefit for you? What type of parent don't tell that? What's wrong with you? You selfish bastards. You sanctimonious punks. That's all you is. That's all you come from. This whole world come from. Everybody feel like they ought to know everything. You know what I'm saying? You got the word is escaping me. But you got these children just feel like everything that's just supposed to be about them, and they supposed to know everything. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta ain't the word is escaping me. That's the word I'm looking for. It's a whole entitled population. And that's why people are so weak mentally and emotionally. That's why so many people fold under pressure. That's why so many people don't want to follow Yah, because Yah doesn't entitle you. So you the only one, she can't get your own baby to go to sleep. You got to pass off young Rachel. Huh? You passing off because D make everybody baby go to sleep. He's a fighter?
Yes.
Fighting back then. Fighting back.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Job 34, right? Job 34. 34 and 1. Now, what we seen in 32 and 33, would it seem like Job is justifying himself in his works versus faith? Is that what he's doing? I think that's what we can see, and you got somebody rebuking him on that. But we're going through each rebuke before we get to where Job repents of this himself. I don't want to call on, cuz. Furthermore, Alahym answered and said, Hear my words, O you wise men, and give ear unto me, ye that have knowledge. For the ear try words as the mouth tastes meat. You heard what he said? Now, what can y'all think about when he say the ear try words as the mouth tastes meat? What y'all think that mean when he say the ear try words?
It makes sense, right?
I'm talking about text-wise. It's text for that. Oh, she's swallowing snot. Not on that one there. He say the ear try words as the mouth tastes meat. So when you taste the meat, you can tell if it's good meat or not, right? You can tell if it's good food. Because some smooth smell good, but they don't taste good. You ever ran across some food, but that food smelled delightful, tastes like rubber. Hold what you got and swing over here to 1 John chapter 4, verse 1. Oh, I keep forgetting Mordecai back there. I'm like, we got the little baby. Ain't no little babies in here. That's Mordecai back there. We see Lee left her husband at the house. He didn't want to join us. Oh, I forgot I don't have that page, thanks to Abigail. God, I don't have that page. Abigail decided to remove that. Thank you, Abby. I appreciate it. Somebody got to open that door, Felicia. First John 4 and 1. Beloved, believe not every ruach, but try the ruachs whether they are of Alahym. Because many false prophets are gone into the world. Hereby know ye the ruach of Alahym. Every ruach that confess that Yahushua HaMashiach is come in the flesh is of Alahym. Every ruach that confess not that Yahushua HaMashiach is come in the flesh is not of Alahym, and this is that ruach of anti-Mashiach, whereof you have heard that it should come, even now already is it in the world. You are of Alahym, little children, have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. They are of the world, therefore speak they of the world, and the world hear them. We are of Alahym, and he that know Alahym hear us. He that is not of Alahym hear not us. Therefore, we know the ruach of truth and the ruach of error. Therefore, we would know the ruach of faith versus the ruach of someone who doesn't possess it. Also, continue when he say that greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world, because that's that same thing in Jeremiah 31, because the word is in you. Alahym is actually in you. But notice he said try the ruachs. How else are you going to be trying the ruach? Because you're going to be trying their words in your ears the same way you try meat in your mouth. See, and if you don't know the word, a nigga can sell you anything. How many of y'all, when you actually hear people talk the word, actually sit down and listen to what they saying? Sometimes nigga don't be listening to what nigga saying. Nigga just be nodding along. Or they be like, it sound right. You know what I'm talking about? Because this is why niggas get mad with me, because nigga, I'm actually, see, nigga don't be thinking I'm actually listening to you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to throw back to you what you said. You know the funniest thing in the world to me? When you talk to somebody and you repeat their words back to them and they get mad with you like you added some words to their words. Nigga, this is what you just said. It's like, this is what you just said, because you just literally just said this out of your mouth. You heard that last night when we was on the phone. Like, nigga, you just said that. That ain't what I'm saying. You don't even remember what you said 45 seconds ago? You know, that frustrates people. You can frustrate people who don't know what they talking about are liars if you repeat their words back to them. Especially a liar. Liars don't like for you to listen. That's why they try to talk fast, so you don't catch what they're saying. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody who talk fast is lying, but for the most part, they lying. Do you know what I'm saying? You ever been to a used car dealership and nigga try to talk to you real fast, don't you? You like this here. Next thing you know, your car don't start. Come on back to Job. He said, verse 3, for the ear try words as the mouth tastes meat. Let us choose to us judgment, and let us know among ourselves what is good. For Job has said, I am righteous, and Alahym have taken away my judgment. You know what he said? He said he was what? So if he's saying he righteous, then what use do you have for Alahym then? See, nigga, don't look at that door. What use is Alahym if you righteous? Nevertheless, should I lie against my right? My wound is incurable without transgression, which go in company with the workers of iniquity and walk with wicked men. I'm saying, what man is like Job, who drink up scorning like water, which go in the company with the workers of iniquity and walk with wicked men? Listen to the next thing he say. For he hath said, it profit a man nothing that he should delight himself in Alahym. Do you not realize that's what Paul was saying in that Galatians 2 that we read? That he said, oh man, my bad. I did not realize that was occurring. Yeah, my bad, man. Now my phone on. Dang! So when you look at it, when you turn and you look at it, right? Paul said that he no longer lives, but he lives by the faith of Alahym that is in. So therefore, we were taking Galatians 2 that Paul is saying he delight in Alahym. Would you not be able to surmise that? So now this is what Alahym was saying that Job, that's what you ought to be doing. Because he just, listen to what he said, right? He said, there's no gain that a man should delight himself in Alahym. Listen to the next thing he said. Therefore hearken unto me, ye men of understanding. Far be it from Alahym that he should do wickedness, and from the Almighty that he should commit iniquity. For the work of a man shall be rendered unto him, and cause every man to find according to his ways. Yea, surely Alahym will not do wickedly, neither will all the Almighty pervert judgment. Say he'll never do that. See, because Job felt like, you know how niggas feel like that keep the law? That nothing bad should happen to them. That's how niggas feel. Let's come over here to Job 35. And verse 1. Now look at the next, hold on, back me up. Job 34 and 33. Job 34 and 33. He says, should it be according to thy mind, he will recompense it. Whether thou refuse or whether thou choose, and not I, therefore speak what thou know. Let men of understanding tell me, and let a wise man hearken unto me. Job hath spoken without knowledge, and his words without wisdom. My desire is that Job may be tried unto the end because of his answers for wicked men. For he add rebellion unto his sin. He clap his hands amongst us and multiply his words against Alahym. What would have been Job's rebellion? What's Job's rebellion? Anybody got an idea what Job's rebellion is? Somebody needs to open the door. It says Job has added rebellion unto his sin, and he clap his hands against among us and multiply his words against Alahym. And that would be correct. But what was his pride in? Because he felt like he was justified more of himself this nigga, than Alahym. Let's look at the next thing. Job 35:1 to tell us. Alahym spake moreover and said, think thou this to be right? That thou said, my righteousness is more than Alahym's. Ain't that what it said? Now let's pause and let's look at every nigga in America's favorite verse. Isaiah chapter 64. Isaiah chapter 64 and about verse 8. This every nigga favorite verse. Nigga love the screen this one here. How many of y'all feel like niggas saying that they righteousness? If you feel like, because remember, right, let's check it, right? Deuteronomy 6:25 say if you keep all these commandments, that will be your what? But Genesis 15:6 says what?
You believe in him.
So when we look at keeping the law, would that not be our righteousness versus the righteousness of Alahym? Because he said this will be what? Your righteousness. But that's not the righteousness of Alahym. So we seek our righteousness, which is keeping his laws. But we're not seeking the righteousness that comes from him, which is a faith of which only he can give. So man, see, I can't give you faith. I can strengthen your faith, and also conversely, I can weaken it depending on my words or behavior. Because remember what he said about the scribes. He said, they shut up the kingdom of Shamahim unto men, because they're not entering in, neither are they trying to help those who are seeking to get in. You know what I'm saying? So I can't give you faith. Stanley can't give her no faith. He can't give you no faith. That can't happen. Only Yah can give you that. Which means that you would have to be doing what? Relying on him. See, but if you scream the law, you ain't got to rely. You ain't got to rely on Yahuwah with the law. You don't. You know what I'm saying? You're like, I don't eat pork. And look down on a nigga who eat. You notice that niggas, and I clown about it all the time. You notice who niggas who only talk about the law, they only talk about three things. The Sabbath, pork, and feast days. They don't talk about nothing else. Nigga don't talk about looking out for the poor. Nigga don't talk about paying a nigga their money. Nigga don't talk about don't loan nobody something and then charge them interest. You know what I'm talking about? Nigga definitely don't talk about don't do, or the only illicit sexual activity nigga want to talk about is don't be no punk. They don't want to talk about no fornicate. They don't want to talk about laying with relatives. Niggas don't want to talk about having sex with a woman on a menstrual cycle. Nigga don't want to talk about sleeping with another man's wife. They don't talk about none of that. Niggas definitely don't like to talk about don't be a liar, because boy, these niggas spit out lies like grape seeds. Like this here. It ain't nothing for some of these niggas to lie. You know what I'm talking about? These niggas don't like to talk about don't be a talebearer, which is to be a what? Not a gossiper, but a slanderer. Because according to the word, see, we see talebearer and we think that means somebody who gossiping. That man say that's a slanderer. You know how many niggas be around here slandering people? Niggas are so entitled, they think if you tell the truth, you slandered them. But nigga, did you do it though? Yeah, I did it. Well, a nigga didn't slander you then. Nigga Dwyer, you talking about, bro, I slept with that girl, bro. But did you sleep with her? Yeah. Well, then that nigga didn't lie on you, cuz. You did that. Take responsibility for your... What's another thing? I'm trying to think of most stuff. Niggas only like to talk about idol worship when it's Christmas time. We were having this conversation last night. I'm going to ask you all a question. Do you feel like it's wrong to have a picture of Mashiach on a t-shirt? So what's the difference between a t-shirt and having a live action movie with him in it? Meaning, when I say live action, meaning a piece of film, a movie. If it's wrong to have an image of him on a t-shirt, what's the difference between that and a movie?
No difference.
I was preaching about this morning.
Yo, for real?
Yeah, they were saying that it ain't. You can have an image. You can't bow down to worship.
That's
like cherubims, images, all the stuff we had in the temple with images.
That is correct. That's correct. We did have teraphims and all this in images, but you know what the key destruction of their whole conversation would be? He told you don't make an image of him. Because he right. Because he said IUIC we're talking about this morning. You know why IUIC we're talking about it? Because they walk around with Nathaniel 7 face on their t-shirt. You know what I'm saying? Talking about look at Jesus Christ, Yahweh Shai. You know what I'm saying? But I was explaining to the buck because he was like, he tagged me in that color of the cross. And I'm like, yeah, I seen it 5 years ago in the barbershop. I said, I don't watch them type of movies. I'm not on that. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool on that. I see that as idolatry. I'm straight. He was like, you know what I'm saying? How you see it as idolatry? I asked him the same question. Do you feel like a picture or description of Mashiach on a t-shirt is idolatry? He was like, yeah. What's the difference between that and that movie? Because you're still taking a person's face and saying he is Yahushua, he looks like him. I don't see the difference in that. So therefore, with a just weight and a just balance, I have to deem both of them to be transgression. You know what I'm saying?
You're gonna end up holding the movie to a certain standard because Jesus is
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's how I look. That's how I've always looked at it, because that's how I had to weigh it. Because I would weigh it to be wrong if you painted a picture and said this look, because you don't know what he looks like. So then you took it far enough to say this man is him. You took a man and say he God. Oh no, I'm good. I don't want to watch that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to watch that. I didn't want to watch that Bible miniseries. I don't want to watch no story about nobody in the script. Then on top of that, I told him, bro, how many of y'all have seen a movie that was based on a true story? Everybody, I would surmise. You know the key thing that they put in front of it? Based on a true story. So you know what they do when they say that? We're going to take artistic liberty. This is one of the reasons why Dame Dash say he slapped Harvey Weinstein. Because they were taking artistic liberty with the story of Paid in Full. Putting things in the movie that did not actually happen. I've heard the dude AZ say, yeah, that scene right there, that didn't happen. He said how they tried to make it seem like I snitched on Alpo. He said that didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a movie, and it's for drama, and it's for entertainment. If we were just to tell the story, you know how many gaps there is that you don't know what type of conversations Mashiach had with his apostles. If any of y'all seen Passion of the Christ, you know they put stuff in there with conversations that are not even verifiable. Do you know what I'm saying? I didn't see that Bible miniseries. I guarantee you they probably had dialogue between Samson and Delilah that are not verifiable. The only dialogue between Samson and Delilah is, tell me where your power come from. There's no other dialogue between them and that, because this man's book is not for entertainment. That's what people done took this man's word and think that it's for your entertainment. It's for your salvation. You want to be entertained? Go watch Seinfeld. Go watch a movie. Go watch Martin. You know what I'm saying? I'm dead serious though. If you pick the book up to be entertained, you have a serious problem. Because truly you don't take Yahuwah seriously, because you think stories of disobedience and faithfulness is entertaining. How you entertained by watching your Savior suffer because you wicked? Because at the end of the day, he's suffering because you wicked, and you entertained by that? I'm not entertained by that. You know what I'm saying? I don't find that entertaining in the least bit. If you want to see a movie with betrayal, go watch Julius Caesar and watch Brutus stabbing. You know what I'm saying? If you want to see that. But see, the reason why people like to take the script and make it entertaining, because it's a true story and it contains all the elements that people like. See, the one thing about people is people like drama. That's why they gravitate to it. That's why niggas watch reality TV.
What about the cartoons?
I wouldn't watch them either, because there's no difference. There's no difference. Do you know what I'm saying? Now, because if we're going to say that an image, whether on a t-shirt or a painting, is wrong, then we have to hold everything to that same standard.
VeggieTales.
What's the difference?
But they don't have vegetables.
They like vegetables, though, little vegetables.
But it's nevertheless, it's an image saying this represents the Godhead, which is Mashiach. So what, you take a cucumber, but you say it's Jesus? You just represented the Godhead as a cucumber. Do you know how blasphemous and disrespectful that is?
Yeah, but what about the prince of Egypt? It never really.
But that's not about the text, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's just about Moses being in Egypt.
But they have the voices.
I wouldn't watch that either. Anything that represents our Alahym in a fashion that he told us not to represent him in, I wouldn't want nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that if they say this cucumber is this person, then that is a representation of the Godhead.
They're not being anybody. They're not representing like.
Yeah, they're being like Peter. They're not. They're telling a story.
Okay, but I'm saying that you saying they telling a story, but in the story, are they representing of the characters that they're telling the story about? So then how are you telling, what type of story are they telling? What are they doing?
For David and Goliath, they have one that represents David and Goliath, but they're not representing Mashiach. They represent David and Goliath.
So then that's my point. They're taking characters from the text and representing them as something else.
I thought you
But
said
he
they
said don't
can't.
represent him.
Yeah, I thought you said they can't represent God.
But look at the point and the way you're going to push it at. But guess what? Eventually, Yahuwah's going to have to be inserted somewhere in these stories. Somewhere. And that's where you're going wrong. At the end of the day, as Yahudim, we should find that it's disrespectful. That they take our God as entertainment. That they take our history as entertainment. This is not entertainment. And they're making money off of it. You know what I'm saying? That's not cool. If our children need to learn about the word, that means niggas need to be adults, pop that book open and teach it to them. Because before there was a television and before there was a movie theater, how was our children being taught the word? Allah said, open it up and teach it to them. We don't need Hollywood to teach us about our God, period. That's unacceptable. Because now we're skirting responsibility off and putting it on another person. That ain't what's happening. That's not what Allah taught us. Y'all know what Deuteronomy 6 say. Teach it to them when you rise it up, when you walking through the house, and when you lay it down. That ain't the way to do. That's not how we operate. You know what I'm saying? But anything, especially if they say that's the Godhead, a Malachim, anything that's in heaven, he told you don't make an image of anything that's in heaven. Nothing. You know what I'm saying? Not because you may worship it, but always it's an idiot who will. You know what I'm saying? Now, I just said the cucumber thing because y'all said VeggieTales, so I'm thinking clearly, if there's vegetables pretending to be these people, you know what I'm talking about? Then they're going to take an actual vegetable and represent this is Mashiach. That's disrespectful. Especially if you take a man, I don't care if he's black or white, and you say this is your savior. Oh no, that's disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? I'm highly offended by that. I don't care if they're black or white. I take that as offense. That's blasphemy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not on that. You know what I'm saying? You know, Family Guy regularly blaspheme you who are on the regular. Say this man made the earth by made the universe by taking a lighter and farting. Do you know what I'm saying? They do it though. Because the reason being because they do not respect him. And every chance they get to belittle him, the whole purpose why he told us not to make any images is for us not to compare him to a man. Do you know what I'm saying? Because now you're taking the incorruptible Alahym and making him like to a corruptible creature. And he finds that highly offensive. You know what I'm saying? See, teraphims and cherubims and all that there, he ain't care nothing about that because he told you to make him and put him in my temple. You know what I'm saying? He said, but me though, don't you do it. Malachim, come on, man. These people got the nerve to make Malachim be butt naked babies with wings. Butt naked babies. Butt naked babies. How disrespectful is that? Butt naked white babies. For real though. All of us done watch TV show Touched by an Angel. Della Reese couldn't be no angel. Ain't no women angel in this book. Michael Landon, whatever I forget the name of that show. He an angel walking around helping people. That man, come on, man. He got him as a blonde haired white man with a doggone denim outfit on. You know what I'm saying? And Yahuwah ain't pleased with none of that. And then we turn around and do the same thing. And we look at it, it's an educational tool. You want to educate how education always been. Open that book up and instruct. You know what I'm saying? Our book is not for entertainment and we shouldn't treat it as such. And we should let people know that we don't appreciate that. You're not going to belittle my ancestors, my history, and my God by reducing it to a 45-inch screen, 50-inch screen, or a movie theater. I am against it. You know what I'm saying? Straight up and down. Because you just say if you're going to be about this and you have to own it and sit back and say, I'm going to protect my God like he protect me. We always scream, do it for the culture. We'll protect your culture and only be cool with people exploiting it. Do you know what I'm saying? Because the people ain't putting that stuff out there to teach the kids. Nigga, we wanted $19.99. You're going to drop on the DVD. Do y'all know how much money that cracker Mel Gibson made off Passion of the Christ? At least $100 million. Do you know how much money he paid to make it? $25 million. Nobody would put the movie in theaters. This man made at least 100 million in theaters, and I think they said after the DVD came out, he made at least a cool $250 million for Passion of the Christ. Mel Gibson made that movie. Didn't cost him nothing to make it. Do you know how easy it is to make a Bible movie? You ain't got to do nothing. You ain't got to write a script. You ain't got to do nothing. You don't even have to spend a lot of money on production because you can shoot it anywhere. All you got to do is get period piece clothing. And then they don't even have that accurate. To make a movie, it ain't though. No,
They got money to do it.
Well, Mel Gibson paid for that out of his own pocket.
Yeah, that's all I was trying to say for them.
There's some action movies that cost $100.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There ain't a lot of action movies out there compared to the rest of them.
I can't say that.
I mean, a lot of movies budget a little higher than 25 million, especially depending on who you have in the movie, because you taking salary and all. We know Will Smith make $25 million a movie on his own. So if Will Smith in the movie, the budget already past 25 million. You know what I'm talking about? Then you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, those like high paid actors like nigga
Yeah,
Iron Man. They said he gotta at least get what?
10, 15, 20 million? Because you got to remember, to make a movie, you talking about salaries for the whole crew. See, we ain't talking about just the cameras and all that there. You got to pay for your permits for wherever you're shooting it at. You know what I'm talking about? You got to pay for all of that.
And the music that goes on.
Anything that you put in the movie that you got to pay royalty rights for, you paying for all of that. Yeah, you pay. That's why I said, right? He had no name actors in Passion of the Christ. If you get a name actor, your budget going past 25 million. Because he had nobody in it. Low budget actors, I can get away on a small budget. You know what I'm talking about? Most movie houses give a lot of money, but the difference is though, you talking about an independent movie maker who made this himself. You know what I'm saying? You talk about a movie house, them budgets are big. Waterworld was like $100 million film. Pure trash. It came out back in the day, man. It had Kevin Costner in it. It was a horrible movie. Because nobody went to see it. You know what I'm saying? Paid in Full didn't cost a lot of money to make. Because it's an independent film, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? But yeah, Mel Gibson, nobody wanted to make Passion of the Christ, so Mel Gibson took $25 million of his own money and did it himself. New Line Cinema decided to distribute it. And I'm talking about DVD sales, this man made a killing. I can remember when this movie came out, all them white folks coming up out the movie theaters weeping and crying. Turn around and hate a nigga 3 minutes later. I didn't see it. You know the reason why I seen it? Because Nail played it for me in 2012. I had no desire. Everybody in here white. I don't want to see this. Yeah, I didn't want to see it. Come on, man. Let me at least get the band keep on. Where we at? Where did I stop at? Where was I going? Where was I going? I was going somewhere though. Isaiah 64. Thank you, sir. That's why. Where my verse at? We want, man. Isaiah 64:4. Well, 5 actually. Thou meet him that rejoice and work righteousness, those that remember thee in thy ways. Behold, thou art wroth, for we have sinned, and those is continuance, and we shall be saved. But we are all as an unclean thing, and all our righteousness are as filthy rags, and we all do fade as a leaf, and our iniquities like the wind have taken us away. Ain't that's what when you tell people you keep the law, ain't that's the first thing them niggas scream? Our righteousness is as filthy rags. But he's absolutely right, because remember what he said in Job, who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean thing? Because if the law could cleanse you, then you wouldn't have had a need for a savior. See, niggas miss that. But your righteousness is as a filthy rag. So that's why he gave you some righteousness. Hold on. Revelation chapter 19 says the fine linen is what?
It's the righteousness.
The righteousness of the saints. What is the righteousness of the saints? Because he said, see, in Job he said, I put on righteousness as a what? As a robe. That robe, and see, we got another thing to hit on too, which is the birthing of the Father, to take us back in Deuteronomy 32, what we were looking at, which takes us back to being born of Alahym, of being that separated seed, of being that grace. Because grace actually causes us to become the sons and daughters of Alahym. Like what he said in John. He said he gave them power to become the sons of Alahym, not by the will of flesh, not by the will of man, not by blood, but by believing on Yahushua. This is how you actual grace is executed. See, niggas don't want, see, faith take you to a whole nother level. And not a whole nother level like niggas say leveling up or there's levels to it. It takes you to another understanding of knowing Yahuwah, because then you can actually experience who he is, because then you begin to experience mercy, goodness, faith, long suffering, forgiveness, and all the attributes that make Yahuwah who he is. And guess what you end up doing? You begin to take them on. You know what I'm saying? Because we have to sit back and look at every single solitary thing that come to our God, and does he accept it or does he reject it? Because now we live in contemporary society. See, like Will just mentioned with IUIC. Of course IUIC is going to say something about it's okay to have an image as long as you don't worship it, because they walk around with t-shirts with Nathaniel 7 on it saying this is Mashiach. So it's natural that they would make that statement, because they're trying to justify themselves in something that they're doing. You know what I'm saying? See, that's what we have to make sure we don't get ourselves caught in is justifying ourselves in something that we want to do versus let's line this up with this text. Let's line this up with the righteousness of Alahym first. Let me run this past my God first, instead of running past what I feel is good or convenient for me. You know what I'm saying? That's how we got to operate. Romans chapter 10. Because we definitely have to deal with, that's why I say we'll get to the other half. We definitely have to deal with Job first, dealing with an example of a man putting the law before faith. So when we come read that Romans 3 like you mentioned, we can see why Paul made the statement that he made. Go right back to Romans 10 and 1. We read it again today, we'll read it again. It says, brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to Alahym for Yasharal is that they might be saved. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of Alahym, but not according to knowledge. For they being ignorant of Alahym's righteousness, and going about to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of Alahym. For Mashiach is the end of the Torah for righteousness to everyone that believes. So he said that if they're ignorant of God's righteousness, what are they ignorant of? The same thing that Paul said, I did it in ignorance and unbelief by being a persecutor and an injurer, because his eyes had not been opened to the wondrous things out of his Torah. When you read Acts 22 and 16, what did he say? He said, hey, the just he's chosen you to know his will and to see that just one. That just one would be the righteous one. The righteousness of Alahym comes from Alahym. This is why he say, I will give you a prophet like unto Moses, and him you will hear. And whoever don't hear him, I will require it of him. Because my Father has given me a commandment what I should say and what I should speak. And I know his commandment is life everlasting. And that commandment is to believe on his son. Because if you believe on him whom he has sent, all Mashiach was coming to do was to show you the way. To show you the way was to teach you how he was the way to the highest by manifesting the scriptures unto you. And I mentioned that before. Let's get that in Luke 24. Because I know we done had that conversation about live action and cartoon things with the text, and I've been pretty consistent with that. Don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Because number one, we don't know how our children will actually react to that type of stuff, and how to divert their attention on salvation, to think that salvation can be earned by watching it on television. You know what I'm saying? Because faith come by hearing, and hearing come by the word. And that's why I've told y'all before, as men, it's our responsibility to teach that to them children. You know what I'm saying? That's not your wife's responsibility. That's not a movie maker's responsibility. As a man, that is our responsibility as a man. If you're going to be the head of a household and a servant of Alahym, then you have to be willing to take that responsibility on and instruct your children about your God. Because our law taught us that in Exodus chapter 12. He said, when your son come and ask you, why do we do this manner of service? You're supposed to be able to tell him. You know what I'm saying? He didn't say go tell your mama. You know, that's the erroneous thing that they say, that the woman is the first teacher, because the man's supposed to be the one to teach that child. That was always the responsibility of the man in Israelite culture. It's the man's job to do it. You don't read anywhere where the book say your mama teach you. Get your mama to do it. You know what I'm saying? Just as much as a woman have a heavy load of carrying the house, a man got a heavy load because he got to direct that house. If you say, I'm a son or daughter of Alahym, who taught Eve? Her husband taught her. And guess who taught his sons? You think Eve taught Seth and Cain and Abel and all of them about Alahym, or you think Adam did it? Adam did that. And as a man, if you say I'm a servant of Alahym, you should relish that opportunity to teach your children about your God, because you love him and you want your children to have that same love for him as you do. You want that same heart of faith to develop in them that you have. You know what I'm saying? Got to get up. Now that's that stuff where you come in up where that's that Anglo-Saxon, Western civilization, European mind frame. You know what I'm saying? That's not how we roll. It's never how we roll. Didn't the book say Abraham would teach his household justice and judgment in the way of Yahuwah? That means he taught it to him. That's your responsibility as a man. You know what I'm talking about? Period. As far as it come to your God. You know what I'm talking about? Everybody look at that little dude who got all them tattoos in his face, who teach all his children that he be having on there. He doing what a man's supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do. It's not a lot of our men, of our people that even look, that have that desire to want to get their children and teach them anyway. Or even think about when they have children, what type of things they would teach them and how they ready to do that. You know what I'm saying? You should be ready to do that. We were having this conversation last night. Most niggas end up having kids just because they wanted a little tickle in their pickle. That's something totally different when he talking about forsake not the Torah of your mother. That's a whole nother conversation. You know what I'm saying? Most of the time you end up with a child because you were having raw sex with somebody you just wanted to get freaky with, and you wasn't thinking about the consequence of that action. You know what I'm saying? Now a child is in the play and you ain't really sat back and considered the fact that I wanted to be a parent, or what was required of me to be a parent. Now I did see an article the other day, man, in this real, they were talking about how black parents, how some of them felt like black parents verbally abuse their children in regards to how they throw in their face what they do for them. Shut up, nigga, I pay all the bills. This, that, there, and the third, and you know what I'm saying? And certain stuff, you know what? Some people's feelings be hurt by some of the stuff they people be saying. You know what I'm saying? I bought all your clothes. Shut up, and this, that type of stuff, you know what I'm saying? This, that, there, and the third. But most of us come from an environment where we feel like our people ain't really teach us nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like in the grand scheme of life, they didn't teach you nothing. Only thing a nigga taught you was ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, and they sent you off to the white man. That was the end of it. Say, let that white man teach you for the next 12 years. I gotta go to work. You know what I'm saying? But when you look into other cultures of other people, I'm talking about contemporary time, a lot of them take the onus of that I'm gonna teach my child. They didn't push that responsibility of education upon another person. You know what I'm saying? Them Asian people teach their kids about Buddha. It may be pure D trash, but they teach them about it though. You know what I'm saying? Them Arabs, they teach their children about Allah. It may be a moon god, but they teach them about him nonetheless. You know what I'm saying? It's very few black parents that teach their kids any life skills. We were just having this conversation during what tabernacle. Ain't too many of our people taught you about sex and how to value your body and the weight on that. You know what I'm saying? Most of our people ain't entrepreneurs, so they ain't teaching you how to start and develop no business. They telling you go to college, get a degree, and go get a job somewhere. And I seen another brother say it this other day, and I done told you this before. That's European culture that your children turn 18, 21 years old and you put them out. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't our way. A young man stayed in his father's household until he got married. You know what I'm talking about? It gave him time to establish themselves. You know what I'm talking about? So that when you threw them out there, they wouldn't be on shaky ground. And a daughter definitely would stay in her father's house until she got married. But now you live in a culture, oh, nigga, you grown. Nigga, I just turned 18. Just last week I was in high school. So now you telling me that I'm able to face the world? You know what I'm saying? So you think just because my birthday passed and I went from 17 to 18 that I am mentally and emotionally equipped to be on my own? How? You know what I'm saying? Like, how is it possible? And then how do you feel that now that I'm 21, I'm able to do it? Nigga, I'm just 3 years removed from being 18. Nigga, I don't even know myself yet. And you expect me to be ready to face the world that you didn't even properly prepare me for. You know what I'm saying? You didn't even prepare me for it. It'd be different if I've been preparing you for the world since the day you were born. Or you can handle that, son. When you turn 18, you're ready to go. You ready to hell that? Baby, I've been training you this for, because remember, at the end of the day, every one of these children, you're training them to be adults. You're preparing them for adulthood. And you can't never start too early in the preparation of that. You don't wait till I think they old enough to handle it. You got to prepare that nigga now. Because it's a cold world out here. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to bombard them with too heavy things of the world around them, but at the same time, you don't want to have them sheltered from it either, though. Because it's real out there. It ain't sweet. It ain't nothing nice. You know what I'm saying? But not even just the things that go on in the world. We should be training them on every aspect to be able to how to deal with it. We definitely should be talking with them about respecting and valuing their bodies. You know what I'm saying? Then we wouldn't have to worry about having a 17, 18-year-old daughter having a child. She's going to respect her body enough to keep her leg closed. You ain't going to have to worry about no 17, 18-year-old boy having a child he can't take care of because he's going to keep his penis in his pants. You know what I'm saying? He's going to understand the value of his body and how if I have sex and I'm not married, that I've not only sinned against my God, but sinned against my own body. You teach him how to respect herself. Your daughter won't want to walk out the house with her titties hanging out. She ain't gonna want to wear shorts with her booty cheeks hanging out. She's gonna carry herself with her mouth. I just seen, chick on my page asking, why do niggas feel like they can step to you with money for sex? Because it's your packaging. You package yourself like a whore, a nigga gonna try you like that. A nigga just don't walk up to random women and say, baby, I got $50 for some sex. What's happening? You know what I'm saying? It's how you present yourself. The nigga feel like, oh, I feel like, shoot, I walk up on this hoe, walk all this whole yard. I bet she do something. I ain't trying to talk. You know what I'm saying?
And then they be like, why did you say hoe to me?
But don't be shocked when a nigga try you like you a hoe. Because you see women who dress with respect, they don't get disrespected like that. You see women who carry themselves with respect on the internet, niggas don't be on their page and their inbox with all that slide nasty stuff. You know what I'm talking about? I hear niggas talking about these Hebrew hoes, man. Nigga, because they looking for some penis. They ain't looking for no husband, nigga. And you dead wrong if you go on the internet actively saying I'm looking for a husband anyway. You have a problem. Keep that to yourself. Mingle that with the people you know. Don't get on the internet posting status and talking about I'm looking for a ish. You got a problem. You looking for something, all right? It's not a husband. But this is what people do. Then you get mad when people size you or what you. It's just like this here, right? Don't be front on the internet like you a thug and a nigga size you like you want. Cause that's just the internet. I ain't no gangster. You a gangster today though. You were talking tough 30 minutes ago. That's what you said. You got in a fight talking hard on the internet. That girl beat you up. Ain't know what you doing. You said that girl beat you up when you were talking. Pulled up on her. She beat you up.
We're in study. You're not supposed to be lying.
I said, is that what you said?
Oh, no.
She be lying all the time. Who does at the landing? Clearly, you be telling lies.
No, I'm saying you over here lying.
I said, ain't that what you said?
No, that's not what I said.
What you said?
I said, I tore it up when I seen her.
You ain't beat that girl up. You ain't even got no scratches.
I mean, that was like some years ago. He had the last time I saw him.
You put Vaseline on your face.
No.
You ain't no fighter. You ain't no fighter. If you was a fighter, you'd have Vaseline on your face. See, that's how I know you ain't no fighter.
My mama told me she put Vaseline on when she fought somebody.
Your mama a fighter.
I ain't know what it was for though.
They put that Vaseline on their face. So no, not because you can't hit them. Pretty women who fight, they don't want you scratching up their face. So they put the Vaseline on their face so you can't scratch their face up. See, I got into it with this dude one time, with this chick, and she went and got an old man. So then the chick I was messing with, she wasn't even there, but she heard about it. And somebody got to mute their phone. And she came up to the college, outfit on, Vaseline on her face, like, where that hoe at? Let's do it. I said, shoot, I said, nigga, how you even know about this?
That's so funny.
But they do it a lot up north more and on the west coast than they do here.
Yeah, that's what they call it in Brooklyn.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, chick put Vaseline on her face, baby, a thump. You know what I'm talking about? But that's it. Pretty women do that. See, ugly women don't do that.
Oh yeah, no, that's ready.
Yeah, ugly women don't do that. Pretty women do that. You know what I'm saying? If you're a pretty woman, you put that. You ain't gonna scratch my face up and have me around here looking bad. Ugly hoe, she don't care. Where that hoe at? I ain't lying. I already know. Ugly hoe don't care. You scratch your face up, maybe help her out. Shoot, pretty woman like this here. Shoot. I think that's your phone down. Luke 24 though. What is it? 24 and 25. Then said unto them, O fools and slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Ought not Mashiach to have suffered these things to enter into his esteem? And beginning at Moses and all the prophets, he expounded unto them in the scriptures the things concerning himself. And they drew nigh unto the village whither they went, and he made as though he would have gone further. But they constrained him, saying, Abide with us, for it is towards evening, and the day is far spent. And he went in to tarry with them. It came to pass, as he sat at meat with them, he took bread and baruched it and brake and gave it to them. And their eyes were open. Yeah, I know I don't know who phone that is, though. So somebody got to mute their phone. I don't know, they don't hear me or what. I don't know who phone that is. And he vanished out of their sight. And they said one to another, Did not our heart burn within us while he talked with us by the way, while he opened to us the scriptures? So you notice, what was it? Was it literal bread? No. It was the word. And he opened their eyes to the distinguishing. Remember how we read last night in John that when he rose from the dead, they remember what he spoke? So to open your eyes up, so they will understand that the justification was never in the law. The justification was in the faith of Alahym. That's where it's at. This is a continual process that Most High willing, if you catch it, we're going to tie into what we looked at with the rock, with the prisoners, and then this matter right here. By the time we get finished, we'll actually take all of those things and it'll be just one big old ball. Fit all in together. You know what I'm saying? Because they all tie in together. One is not independent of the other. They're all going to point us to the same thing. Because the rock and the prisoner points us to faith. You know what I'm saying? It points us to faith. And then it points that faith is greater than the actual works of the law. Because then your justification is in your Alahym and not in your labor. And that's what these niggas want, is they want the justification to be in them. So they can say, see, they want to do what Job did. Come on back to Job. Well, I read Job 35:1. We got to crank it up to slide on out of here in a minute, though. Alahym spoke moreover and said, Think thou this to be right, that thou say my righteousness is more than Alahym's? For thou said, What advantage will it be unto thee, and what profit shall I have if I be cleansed from my sin? Which is taking you right back to what Paul said in Galatians. If justification come by the law, then Mashiach has died in vain, because the law did not cleanse you from your sins. That's how he's telling you one is greater than the other. This ain't difficult to understand. I will answer thee and my companions with thee. Look unto Shamahim and see, and behold the clouds which are higher than thou. If thou sin, what do thou against him? Or if thy transgressions be multiplied, what do thou unto him? And if thou be righteous, what give thou him, or what receive he of thy hand? Because at the end of the day, if you keeping the law, that means y'all owe you. So what he supposed to give you then? Because now you got the nerve and audacity to step to y'all and say, nigga, you owe me. I owe you? I gave you an earth to live in. I gave you organs that work. I gave you a body that can even heal itself. You know what I'm talking about? I even gave you herbs and medicine that you can take to heal your body if you have any maladies. And that's another thing we tripping on. These niggas swear if you eat vegan or eat all these herbs that you ain't never gonna die. Nigga, you still gonna die. I don't know why these niggas, oh, you think you gonna live forever? They doctor said he died, they killed him. That nigga was dying regardless, nigga. He's flesh and blood. On top of that, nigga, 80-year-old nigga, that nigga dying and going to hell, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Guess what else he gave you? He gave you land of which you didn't earn. He gave you vineyards you didn't plant. He gave you houses you didn't build. But more importantly, he gave you a covenant of which you didn't earn, and he redeemed you from the covenant that you broke without anything that you had to do other than trust and serve him. That's all you had to do. You had to do nothing else but that. Listen what he says. Thy wickedness may hurt a man as thou art, and thy righteousness may profit the son of man. If you look at how you keep the law, remember how Paul said love work no ill to his neighbor? Your righteousness of the law only profits another man. There's no gain from that. You not stealing, does that profit Yahuwah or does that profit a man? You not committing adultery, does that profit Yahuwah or does that profit a man? You keeping the Sabbath don't even profit Yahuwah. You know what I'm talking about? He don't get no gain from you doing that. Because he didn't need you to do it regardless. He Alahym whether you do it or not. That's what niggas missing. Yahuwah is Alahym whether you do it or not. Listen what he said. Your righteousness may profit the Son of Man. Because you wouldn't be oppressing or being wicked towards another man. But the manifestation of faith profits in a whole nother different direction. Which, if you be honest, how many Hebrews even talk about believing in Yahuwah? Not many. They only talk about the law and culture. Those conversations have their place, but they shouldn't be number one on the totem pole. They got their place. They shouldn't be number one. Nevertheless, we got one more chapter. What it is? 36? Do we got time to look at 36? Now we good. Let's go on over here to Job chapter 42. Now y'all should know you can read on your own time. If you check out Job, what it is, starting at 37. If you start at Job 38 all the way to 42, this is y'all talking to Job at this point. You know what I'm saying? I just so y'all know that for your own edification to read it on your own time. From chapter 38 to the conclusion of 41, this is Yahuwah rebuking Job directly. But let's look at Job 42 and 1. Then Job, and if you actually look at it and you examine it yourself, because we don't have time obviously to read all of that, you'll see that Yahuwah was pretty much instructing Job that you ought to have trusted in me. If any of you are familiar with those chapters, you can see that. You know what I'm saying? Like when he told him, where were you when I laid the cornerstone in Shamahim and the morning stars sang for joy? Where were you at? You know what I'm saying? Nevertheless. Then Job answered Yahuwah and said, I know that thou can do everything, that no thought can be withholden from thee. Who is he that hide counsel without knowledge? Therefore have I uttered that I understood not, things too wonderful for me, which I knew not. Here I beseech thee, and I will speak, and I will demand of thee, and declare unto thee, I heard of thee by the hearing of the ear, but now my eyes see. Wherefore I abhor myself, and repent in dust and ashes. So at the end of the day, Job had to recognize that he was wrong for justifying himself rather than justifying Alahym. Because the only thing that Job could do was justify his obedience to the law. So Romans chapter 3. Sound like they're listening to the Lion King. Romans 3 and verse 21. He said, but now the righteousness of Alahym without the Torah is manifested, being witnessed by the Torah and the prophets. So you know, y'all willing, next week, that's what we have to look at, because he said the righteousness of Alahym without the law is manifested in the law and the prophets. Now, how all these Hebrew niggas read that and then don't go search the scriptures to see if that's so? Because didn't he just say that? So that means there has to be a validation for it. We just kind of seen the reverse of it with Job, didn't it? Even the righteousness of Alahym, which is by faith in Yahushua HaMashiach, upon all of them that believe, for there is no difference. We kind of looked at that Wednesday with Rahab. Was not the righteousness of Alahym manifested upon her? What law did she keep? She said, we heard of you. We heard what you did to the Egyptians, and she believed. And she was justified by Alahym because she believed. For all have sinned and come short of the esteem of Alahym, being justified freely by his grace through the redemption that is in Yahushua HaMashiach, which Romans 5 tells us about how that's the free gift that came by one man. So if you were redeemed, redemption pertains to what? Being purchased, correct? What purchased you? His blood. What is the blood? It's the acceptance. Without the blood, you're not accepted. Because Yahuwah didn't accept anybody in Mizraim that didn't have the blood of that lamb on the doorpost of their house. Whom Alahym set forth to be the propitiation through faith in his blood, to declare his righteousness for the remission of sins that are past through the forbearance of Alahym. To declare, I say at this time, his righteousness, that he might be just and the justifier of him which believe in Yahushua. Where is boasting then? Is it excluded? By what law? Of works? Nay, but by the law of faith. Therefore we conclude that man is justified by faith without the deeds of the law. You know why, and we're going to look at it, you know why man is justified by faith without the deeds of the law? Because you were a sinner. Because because when this man offered himself, were we transgressors or not? He said, because while we were yet without strength, Mashiach did what? Died for the ungodly. So therefore you can't turn around and say you justified by the works of the law because you were a transgressor. Therefore you had to have a redeemer. Therefore faith in your redeemer is what justified you without the works of the law. Do you know how many times we can see that? You know how many times you can read that? Because if the justification is by the works of the law, everybody going to hell. Everybody going to hell. Nobody would be exempt. Not a single solitary person. No one could be forgiven either. Is he the Alahym of the Yahudim only? Is he not of the Gentiles? Yes, of the Gentiles also. Seeing it is one Alahym which shall justify circumcision by faith and uncircumcision through faith. Do we make void the Torah through faith? Alahym forbid. Yea, we establish the Torah. So just because we know that the faith is the justifier does not mean that we make the law null and void. See, unfortunately for a lot of Hebrews and a lot of Christians, they think that if you put faith out there, Hebrew thinking you tossing away the law. And then a Christian think faith is a reason to toss away the law. When he's trying to set things in the proper order. Your justification comes through faith. Through faith, now you obey. And not the other way around. Because you niggas had the law and you didn't believe. Therefore, he had to send a redeemer to send in. You can't. That's why he say the Mashiach has died for nothing because you have no justification. But hallelujah for Yahushua no work. We gotta stop and get out of these people's establishment.